I always kind of start this story actually at high school. I wasn't supposed to graduate high school at all. I was interested in like being an athlete and partying. Unfortunately, that led to really terrible grades. And they were like, you're going to need to ace your senior project we had. Remember that thing?
Oh, I did mine on creatine, yes.
Interesting enough, I did mine on the Atkins diet. I gained a lot of weight like my senior year. And for women that are my age, if you grew up in the 80s, weight was always such a thing. And I was already at a point where I'm like, I don't really feel comfortable. So I was like, I should probably start with my nutrition. And I figured this was the very basics. Like I needed protein because I was an athlete.
What came of that?
So I lost like a ton of weight. I think I lost like 30 pounds. It definitely was harmful.
Tell people what you do now.
By default, I'm a clinical nutritionist. So I usually work with people that are sick at some level, or I work with very high performers. Like that's kind of the route I'm on right now. Symptoms are really important because they give an idea, they give words to feelings.
Sure.
So I'm a big fan of like data equals confidence, confidence equals evidence, and that most of the times my feelings kind of don't matter with the data. So it's not invalidating your feelings. If anything, my data validates your feelings quite a bit.
Why do you do what you do, and who do you do it for?
I haven't been like very open with in Facebook or any of the things because a lot of stuff I'm doing right now is really targeted to help my
92.5% of the people who watch this show have not yet subscribed. That is not okay on the I Am Not Okay channel. If we are going to grow and change the way that life is done, we need you to speak up, step up, and show up. And that starts with hitting the subscribe button. And if you're able, please comment, like, and share any and all episodes. Now, on to the show.
Welcome to Bear It All, the Kintsugi Chronicles, here on the I Am Not Okay channel, where we gather our broken pieces in search of gold. My name is John Bear.
My name is Jeremy Palmer.
And today we're joined by one of my very best friends in the whole world, somebody I haven't seen in like 5 years. So literally we're going to sit here for like 2 hours. Miss Adrianne Ortiz. How we doing?
Well, hello everybody.
Welcome, Adrianne. So let me give a little context here. Adrianne and I, this seems to be a theme that's showing up. Adrianne and I went to high school together. So this is
there is a lot of that.
28 years ago was when we met, something like that. I'm not going to do the math right now.
I can't do it for you.
That's okay. We didn't do well in math class. We did well in all the other classes, especially fitness and all that kind of stuff. So Adrianne and I went to school together. And Adrianne and I also, probably about 12 or 13 years ago, personally, when I was starting to get into being a strength coach, when I started talking about it on Facebook, you were literally the only person who started commenting on my posts. I don't know if you remember that, but I do because you showed me love right away when nobody else did. And I went to an HKC, a hardstyle kettlebell certification, and you hopped right on my thread and you were like, well, tell me about it. What did you learn? What's going on? Do you think you could teach me some of these things? And I was like, oh my God, she's really into this. And that led me to kind of reaching out and reconnecting with you. That was in like 2012, maybe 11. So it was about 10 years after high school. But you had been pretty deep into getting into fitness yourself.
I was deep in strength and conditioning at that
point.
point.
And that's where we reconnected. So that's where we're going to start today.
Well, we're starting there.
We're going to start. Let's start right there. So not even high school stuff, strength and fitness stuff. I don't know that everybody, do you think everybody's like interested in our high school days? Probably not.
I don't know.
We'll see if we get there.
Yeah.
Why did you start getting into strength and health and fitness and stuff after high school?
After high school. I mean, I always kind of start this story actually at high school.
Well,
for me, it begins much earlier than that, but I'll start it there. My first transformation, like I actually was not supposed to graduate college. I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to graduate high school. I jumped an entire degree. I wasn't supposed to graduate high school at all. So I had a meeting with my counselor, or what are those people that supervise
guidance
you?
Counselor.
Yeah, guidance counselor. Like, listen, you're not going to graduate high school. And I was like, okay, because my grades were poor. I was not interested in school or anything. I was interested in like being an athlete and partying. Those were very much my two interests. And unfortunately, that led to really terrible grades. My attendance was all right, but my grades were really bad. I think I was at the bottom of our class. Actually, I graduated at the bottom. And they were like, you're going to need to ace your senior project we had. Remember that thing?
Oh, I did mine on creatine, yes.
Interesting enough, I did mine on the Atkins diet. So I walk in and they're like, you're going to have to get a 97. And at the point, I didn't get, there was nothing of my grades that projected a 97 at the time. So me making this was like make or break. So I put all my effort into it. I ended up getting, I think, like 100, like across the board nailed it. So I literally graduated from doing a transformation project. And since then, it's just catapulted.
What sports were you into in high school?
In high school, I was not playing the sports I was destined to play. I was a rugby player through and through when I got to college. In high school, I was playing intramural basketball still, intramural soccer. And for the school, for our school, I played softball my freshman year. And then I transferred over to lacrosse my junior year. So junior, senior year, I was like hammering lacrosse. I don't think I was very good at it, but everything clicked for me in college. Like college rugby really kind of turned everything around.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that it came down to your last project. And then the catalyst for what you're doing now, it sounds like it was that project. It was kind of. It was like my first like weight loss experience. Why did you choose that to do your senior project on? Because I mean, I gained a lot of weight like my senior year, and for women that are my age, if you grew up in the 80s, weight was always such a thing. Got it. And I was already at a point where I'm like, I don't really feel comfortable, and running for softball like hurt. And I was going from softball to lacrosse. There was just like so many things happening. So I was like, I should probably start with my nutrition since I was already doing so much fitness. Like I was already lifting 2 to 3 times a week. Right. So, but we weren't doing anything when it came down to nutrition. No. So the only thing I knew at the time was this Atkins diet. And I figured this was the very basics. Like I needed protein because I was an athlete, and that's about it. That's all I had to go off of, and it worked. Okay. That's awesome. Yeah. That's a great starting point. What came of that? So I lost like a ton of weight. I think I lost like 30 pounds. Using Atkins diet. Using Atkins diet, but I look back and I'm like, ugh. You know, it's always hard to look back and now what I know now, which is significantly more than I knew then. Right. It definitely was harmful. Right. Sure. If I could look at how I did it, like I was still eating a good amount of food, but now I'm like, you were incredibly underfueled. And then when I went to college, it was this perpetual cycle of gaining and losing weight. Like I went to college, and then at college, if we kind of, I guess, start there. Totally. I was I had no intentions of playing rugby. I was like, that's brutal. And for like barbarians, honestly, I was like, that is not for me. That's not for you. That's not for me. I just want to like I was actually in the karate club, believe it or not, my first semester. Awesome. And because MMA wasn't about, and I was like, I always did martial arts, so I figured that was something I could do. And then I saw the rugby girls playing, and I'm like, that looks wild. Like, I still don't want anything to do with that. And it really changed when I went to a party. I went to this really intense rugby party, and someone sought me out and was like, you should try to play this sport. And my first practice, some girl broke her femur, and they just moved her over and continued to play. And I was like, wow. This is something really different. And then I caught the bug and I didn't stop playing for like 10 years. So yeah, it became like an obsession, like a very deep obsession. I was deeply obsessed with rugby. What do you think about rugby brought that obsession on? It was something that my brain just understood. And it was like every sport I've ever played put together, but it's a constant game of chess. Rugby is not a game of brutality. Got it. It is a thinking game. It's a moving game. It's a game of placement, and it's a game of space and stealing space. And it's very evasive. I played sevens, so I wasn't like a 15s. I played 15s to start, but then I ended up playing sevens, which is the fast rugby, which is what you see in the Olympics. Got it. So those really big girls just crushing people. That was what I did. Okay. But there's a lot of strategy to it as well. So much strategy. Yeah. It's all strategy. So big athletes moving quickly and explosively, but having to use your brain. So the total package. Total. And I was very small. As a sevens player, I mean, I'm very tiny. Most of those girls are a lot taller. Okay. They kind of remind me of like Midwest basketball players, like big, corn-fed. I'm on a farm. Like I'll pick you up and toss you. So at like 5'4" and $130, I didn't have a lot to offer. So I had to really focus on nutrition. And that's really like my second turn was when I was like 20. Okay. So I packed on like another like 50 pounds, just like drinking
and eating ramen and just being, you know, what I believe a normal 20-year-old would be doing at
freshman
college.
50.
Yeah, freshman 50, more like it. And I really, and it was like a lot of things. I wasn't really into school at this time. I didn't have a major. I was kind of just floating around. And then I did this thing again where I'm like, I have no direction. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, my stress fractures in my shins were so bad that I couldn't run anymore for rugby.
Shit.
And I was kind of just like standing. I'll never forget, I was on practice and I couldn't put weight on one foot or the other. Oof. It was that bad. So I was like, I really need to change something. And I was probably like, I don't know, maybe like 185, 190 pounds. And I'm about $165 now. So I was a lot bigger.
Right.
So I started to run, which isn't the greatest thing to do, but I started to run every day. And I just figured I'd run like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes. And eventually every day I was able to run a little bit more. And that was really when I got into nutrition. I'd say at 20 was when I really got into nutrition. I have an aunt and uncle who were like naturopaths. Mm-hmm. My uncle's a chiropractor and my aunt, the two of them run a really great practice out in Arizona. So
you remember.
yeah,
Okay.
so they really were like, listen, first thing you got to do, like cut out dairy, cut out gluten. You need to, you know, drink a lot of water, obviously.
And this was like 2006.
This is 2002.
Oh shit.
So
Okay,
I'm taking
yeah.
greens, and it just
Right.
by proxy of where I'm living, there was a health food store. The only health food store in probably, I don't know, 20 miles happened to be right behind the house I was living in at college. So I walked in there and they had greens and a lot of stuff that is a foundation of my original system that I have now was based then. So I lost like 50 pounds.
Got it.
50 pounds. And I was eating a ton of protein, like good nutrients. I knew as a rugby player, I needed workout nutrition. And that's when I discovered like amino acids. I was like, oh my God, these amino acids. Like I had no idea about anything, like carbohydrates, like foundational things. Like, hey, you should eat this. So that really started to change my body and my confidence. So I really started to like study more, like things really turned for me then. And I think now it's come like full circle. Like I look at those transformations and how I ran things and now I'm like, this is where I'm really great at. And I just kept, that circle just kept happening over and over again in my life.
Okay.
With different areas, just transformations.
So that 2002, 2003, 2004, that time while you were playing rugby, seeing how working on your nutrition, were you hurting less too? Like your shins and stuff? Or
Yeah, like that all went away. That all went away.
That boosts performance because like, oh, I'm hurting less. I
Absolutely.
can do more on the field.
Yep. And then
it
I had a
feeds
ton of
itself.
injuries after that, which then I could focus on strength training. So things really moved. I ended up breaking my collarbone, which is pretty normal to do in rugby. I think that was my junior year. So we're a little bit older now and I really had to like put on some strength. And I lifted with the guys program at CB West.
Yeah.
I used to steal my brother's program and go to like Holman's gym.
I was going to say, you grew up with that stuff.
Yeah, so like I was like, I'm incredibly weak, like
Thanks, Joe.
so weak. Like I'm very, very weak. So I knew that like strength training, and I had some background, but not that much. And at this time too, I started to train more speed agility. So this is when things really start, like the Parisi speed school. Like I started getting into powerlifting.
Right.
So I was 20. I really sought out, you know, and this is, I don't know how many years ago, 23 years ago, I was looking at powerlifting, Olympic coaches. I was doing speed training at the Parisi speed school. I was really starting to understand how things work from an energy system standpoint. So then nutrition had to become more of a knowledge because I was overtraining and underfueling at a rapid rate. So I was injury prone constantly. I was breaking stuff left and right. And my collarbone break was the last one. I broke my sternum. I had a ton of concussions. So I was like, I can't have this continuously happen.
Right.
So that's when like workout nutrition became paramount for me. It was between like 20 and like 22.
Okay.
So I can kind of like put you on some sort of a,
Oh, totally. We have to give us all the points. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
I'll do my best to kind of be like, is this the thing that it
yeah, and then it just,
So
Tie it together.
what did that lead to then if you were started to working on your nutrition and you saw what that was doing after doing some strength training and getting in Holman's gym and some of the speed training, which was helping your performance, but your nutrition was lacking? Where did you go then? Was that like, did you do precision nutrition and that kind of
yeah,
stuff?
I started
And
doing, that was like my first
Berardi and all that?
certification. Yeah, I
Sure,
really got
yay.
into precision nutrition, and like everyone at this time then saw me lose all that weight.
Right.
So people are like, and at this point, I'm a strength and conditioning coach. I am not a nutrition coach.
You were at High Point, right?
I was running their Ignite program.
I remember.
So it
Yeah.
was their strength and conditioning for youth. And at this time too, I wrote for the IYCA. I was like one of the top 50 like strength and conditioning. I was really into strength and conditioning. Like nutrition was very much not my thing, but I knew how important it was.
Sure.
And I saw it at a level from children to adults to athletes. I saw just like fueling problems. And I started to become very aware of like the 1 hour you're doing in the gym, maybe even 3 times a week, is really offset by these other habits like hydration and fueling and sleep. And like I had these kids coming in. I mean, John, we can talk about like the gym we worked at together, where we had so many kids coming in that were, going from practice to practice, not eating, coming in. This is like their third thing they have to do today. And I'm like, can you just go like, instead of a warm up say, just go sit down and drink some water?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
I do. So let's just go right there. So you did strength and conditioning for a while, but you started to see that there was a gap, and a big gap. They were talking about eating food, but not necessarily the proper foods to fuel the performance that we were after.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So what did you start to do? You shifted from getting out of like strength and conditioning for a while, and you started to look more into nutrition. What did that look like for you?
Yeah. So strength and conditioning was always, I always say it is my anchor to all things. And what you see now, I believe, in the industry too, and I'll come back to that, but what you see now, I believe, is a spill out of performance. Like all of our protein recommendations, our sleep recommendations, our hydration very much comes from like an athletic base, in my opinion, with a system under stress. It's a system that's under stress, and I believe we're all constantly under stress. So I started to realize, I'm like, so I'm working with these athletes that are in a stress situation, but parents are stressed. Kids are stressed. Like everyone has this like unique amount of stress. So how are we addressing that? And I started to look outside of food.
Okay.
I really started looking outside of food. I started looking, I mean, I'm jumping probably like half a decade.
Great. So what?
But I started looking more into hydration, and like starting things at the very basic level of like, what does it mean to be hydrated? What are we talking about? What do you need to be hydration? How much should I be hydrated? What's the saturation level? What's sodium, potassium? How's that work?
Right.
I had so many more questions than I did answers. So I started to hit the books. I went back to school, and I kept going to school, and I'm still in school right now because I forever have questions, and I believe they are answered in scientific evidence. I believe half of it's in the evidence. I believe half of it's happening right now. I believe we're in this interesting spot that we are the pool of test subjects.
Got it.
So I believe we live in an environment right now that is so unique, that has never happened before in human history. We're living post-COVID. We're living in a time where humans are 93% indoors.
Right.
That changes our interactions with light, with nature. I mean, these are like fundamental problems. Now, this is 10 years later, but 10 years behind is when I started asking these questions.
Right.
Why are we like this?
Right.
When I started coaching these problems, I would say, these nutrition, bioenergetic problems back in like 2014, my coaching started to really change. I realized I could only do so much in a period of time, where now I need so much more time. I need per person.
Got it.
So much more data, so much more lab. I didn't do labs back then, but I had, assessment protocols, which also I believe, when I talk about the anchor of strength and conditioning made me a great nutritionist because of the assessments I learned as a strength and conditioning coach. People came in, there was some form of assessments. Like, what are we doing to assess these people? There is no assessments. I have a food log. Well, what is that?
Right.
What is that?
What does that even mean?
What does that even mean for someone? It's just like, I think it's archaic, to be quite honest.
And was it that you noticed that in their strength and conditioning performance, that they were not really, we'll say, growing and adapting in a way that you thought they should based on what they were doing? So it caused you to look at other avenues, which nutrition, food, and hydration, etc. Other things that are a component of performance.
Yeah. What's crazy is they were making strides, but like it was like they were driving with their foot on the gas pedal, or the foot on the brake. My bad.
Right.
It's like their foot, like the
You knew there
e-brake
was
is
more,
on. There's
right.
e-brake on. Oh my God. Like there was, it's like
Still
your help.
flooring it, but have that
Still
e-brake
doing.
on.
I see that the most now, but back then, about 10 years ago, it just started. Where like the stress of things like finances, the world being on fire and burning, all the things they pressurize us.
Right.
And I noticed that pressurizing like a decade ago. And that's how I wrote my system, based on like a stressed human. Like I based all of my systems and sequences based on the fact that we are already stressed, where I believe most systems now are using a normal human. Please show me one human. I look at lab data every day. I see these intake forms. You guys see it, people coming in your doors. Nobody's normal, whatever that definition is. To me, it's like,
what does that even mean? Right.
a less sick individual to me is normal at this point, which is sad that that's where our baseline is.
Yeah. So let's do this. Let's jump right to it, to where you are right now, and we'll probably work back from that. Okay. So Adrianne, you said it, and I'm guessing you believe a great starting point would be, let's get our blood drawn and actually see what's going on under the hood.
Yeah.
And you've come to that 10 years later since you started asking these questions.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell people what you do now and where they should go.
By default, I'm a clinical nutritionist.
Clinical nutritionist.
So I usually work with people that are sick at some level, or I work with very high performers. Like, that's kind of the route I'm on right now. Mm-hmm. And what I do is I use lab data, because symptoms are just going to give you an idea of a conclusion, but it is not what is actually going on inside of the human machinery. It's not telling you what's going on with my hormones. It's not telling you going on with my cortisol, my stress. It's not telling you anything. Symptoms are really important because they give an idea. They give words to feelings.
Sure.
So I'm a big fan of like data equals confidence, confidence equals evidence, and that most of the times my feelings kind of don't matter with the data. And I want to be really clear. That doesn't, I listen to my clients for 2 hours before we even talk about having a plan.
Of course.
You know that we've talked on the phone.
Yes, we have.
So it's not invalidating your feelings. If anything, my data validates your feelings quite a bit, but most of the times we have these symptoms and we have no data to validate it. Like, why do I feel like a huge crap? Am I allowed to curse on here?
Yes, you absolutely.
Why do I feel like a huge crap shit of garbage when I wake up in the morning? You know, why don't I have energy? Why can't I do any of the things that I could do before? Or people that have much deeper rooted issues in fatigue, in metabolism, and I want to know why they're feeling like that. And when I read a lab, I know it sounds weird, but I can physically feel it. I'm like, oh my God, they're so tired. They are exhausted. Right. You know, so looking at that data can then give someone some clear answers as to what they're doing, why they're doing it, how they're feeling, why they're feeling that way. And then we can start working from the symptoms and the data and start to understand what's going on with then your life story, your genetic history, your predispositions, your family history. So there's a lot that goes on when we're looking to address a human. I think right now we've just skipped like 30 steps. We're like, here you go, just take this. Or this person said this, just do that. Whoa, wait a second.
Okay.
They're not talking to N equals 1, which is you. That's the kicker. Like, they're not, and what worked for you when you were 20 isn't going to work for you when you're 21. Or what worked for you right now, I'm 43, what worked for me 6 months ago isn't going to work for me possibly now, because my system is changing. We're always changing. We're constantly changing. So data is really important, especially lab data, because then that tells me what to do next.
Right.
So I don't hurt anyone. So I don't make the wrong decision. Then I make a clinically accurate decision, because we're talking about health. We're talking about someone's life. We're talking about their symptoms. And you know this, and you know this, when you have people come in your door, they are at their last end already. You are the sixth boyfriend that got dumped.
You know, good way to look at it.
You're the sixth boyfriend. So when they get number 7, I'm like, listen, bud. I've kind of heard this spiel before. You know, so it's really hard when we have that to fight against as practitioners. You know, you hit you like a ton of bricks.
That validated us.
Yeah, you are the last boyfriend that got dumped.
Wow, let that one sink in.
So all my health. I call it like health trauma, because I believe it's real. I don't know if that's a coined term. I'm sure someone much smarter than me brought that one up. But a lot of people have been burned by a lot of different systems and people. And I think we need to just draw it back, make it easy, and start with labs and start with some testing. Like we say, like we don't guess, we test. So, and it's not, you know, when you go over looking at the labs, I just focus on the key ones. It's like when you're watching someone squat, there could be a shit ton of stuff going wrong there. And you don't want to make them feel bad. Like, hey, that's a great squat. Let's just fix 1 or 2 things.
Correct.
Not being like, you can never move, Ma. Like, it's like, well, stop. I literally go to the bathroom 6 times a day. Like, I have to squat. So something's going on there, right? So when we talk about labs in that way, it's not like demonizing them or being like, oh my God, you're so effed up. It's like, actually, you have some really strong components here. Here's some strengths that we're going to work on. And here's the parts that aren't doing so well. And this helps clarify your symptoms. So it's really looking in that lab data, really the linchpin to pull on. Like, what's the one thing that I can really work on that's going to help clear out the other symptoms? Same thing with strength and conditioning. I always come back full circle with it. Like, if I have someone that was doing a deadlift and there was a ton of things wonky, what is the one correction I can make that's going to help that thing move?
Bingo.
You know, or from doing a sprint analysis, like what's the one cue as a coach I can look that helps them fly? and give them some confidence, give them some movement. You know, so when we look at labs at that level, like that's really what I try to do.
Okay.
It's after we do that deep analysis, what's the one thing that's going to help this person also regain trust within me and my system? Because again, we're looking at the 7th boyfriend deal. I will say that over and over again. So restoring trust to me at the baseline level of health is like where we start.
Okay.
You know, not just throwing, here's a pill, here's a surgery, here we go to just mask these symptoms. It's like, how about we get to the root cause?
Absolutely.
How about we try that for once? Like, get to the bottom of this shit, fix it once and for all, do what we got to do. You know,
speaking our fucking language.
Yeah. Call the people. If you know, I'm sure you're like this too. Like 20% of the people that come to work with me don't, because I either know a practitioner that's better, that's more acute into what they need, or that they might need a second clearance or something else. So
Correct.
That's the type of work that we're really doing, and you're doing here too. We're doing deep work.
1000%.
We're doing deep. It's not just like we're going to work on fitness. It's like, no, we're gonna work on everything. Like I want to rebuild. When I say rebuild your physiology, those aren't vague words. There's a system to it, and there's a system to check in on and checkpoints of what we're doing, and then working on the next lab to clear. So I think if we just like take a step back from everything and just singular it onto the person and make it as customized and precise as possible. Like, I'm a big fan of like precision nutrition, right? But in the way that nutrition is precise.
For the person.
And it's incredibly easy once you have the right formula. It does not have to be hard. Nutrition is fun as shit. I was like laughing this morning. I had a client this morning. We were both cracking up. Again, because to me, it's fun. Like, I don't call this a job. This is just what I do.
Right, yeah.
You know, it's like my
This is
passion.
life.
This is my life.
Yeah.
And I want other people to experience that, you know, and to be doing something as long as I've been doing it for 23 years and still like getting up, being pumped up, half angry, half pumped up. I'm like a true Philadelphia like Eagles fan to the like down to the wire. Like I just get up pissed off and passionate. You know, where I'm just like, whoa, let's go. Come on, we got stuff to do today.
1000%.
You know?
So you have people, you believe, let's get the data. From the data, we can make decisions, especially the right decisions for you.
Yeah.
And for the person out there that kind of just is so new to this, that just maybe
yeah.
like just clicking on this conversation, maybe this can help me.
Sure.
I don't know what they're talking about, but it sounds cool. Like, what are the things that the labs show you? Like what? Because people are like, why should I get my blood tested? What is it going to tell you? What is it going to give you?
So much.
Right.
Right.
But what? Specifically,
The feeling like
so
what
that
you were
they
just
could
saying, like
understand.
you were reading something, you were like, oh my God, I can't believe it. They're so tired like that. Like, what are you reading like in those things that are telling
It depends what we're testing for, but basics. Like, and I will go.
Do you have a basic panel for men and women that
I
you
do
would
have a basic
suggest?
panel.
And then maybe go deeper, but
Sure,
what's
yeah.
the basics show?
Basics are going to look at your A1C level
So that's blood sugar.
and fasting glucose. Yep. So
Okay.
A1C is the total picture of what's going on with your blood glucose regulation. So we want that just is, to me, it's gives me just an idea. Fasting glucose will tell me a little bit more what's going on with cortisol and stress level.
Okay.
So those two give a pretty good idea of like what's going on with blood sugar regulation. I also look at triglycerides, fasting triglycerides, because that's going to tell me how they're storing it.
And that's your fat, body fat.
Yeah.
Right?
CBC and CMP, so that's a complete blood count. That's going to give me an idea of what's going on at an immunity level.
Like white and red blood cell,
Correct.
kind of that
Yep.
stuff. Yep.
A CMP is a comprehensive metabolic panel. So that's really going to look at the liver, and we're going to look at how things are being metabolized and stored. Those are all free from your doctor's annual exam. You can get all of those. Those to me are very powerful. Now, obviously, we can go then into hormones. So hormones, we're looking at estrogen, testosterone, sex hormone binding, and DHEA.
Okay.
Again, that's for both genders.
Both genders, right.
And they go off just a little bit of a tier in that, but just getting that's going to be really important.
Okay.
Lipids are huge. So your lipid panel for most people is going to be your total cholesterol, your LDL, and your HDL.
Is that like blood fat, lipids? What is that for the person that doesn't know?
Total cholesterol that's your
Lipids
lipid
more your
panel.
cholesterol.
Yeah, so that's
Got
really
it.
going to be scanning for cardiovascular health and strain. I
it.
actually kind of don't use that too much. I look at more or less LDLs. And if that isn't great, I'll look at APOA and APOB markers.
Okay.
And what those are, APOA and APOB are going to look at the particle strains. So if I have APOA, APOB, we're looking at the actual particles that can go into your heart and clog up as plaque. So we do not want those.
They're like early onset for like
Yes.
Alzheimer's and things like that.
Not so much Alzheimer's. It's going to be
Or
probably a
dementia.
little bit more for cardiovascular disease,
okay,
heart
sorry,
attack,
yeah.
stroke. And then I really look at HSCRP, which is C-reactive proteins. That gives me an idea of systemic inflammation. So just right there, I can tell where they are roughly in their cardiovascular journey. I can get an idea of overall systemic inflammation. Looking at people our age with hormone dysfunctions, or I just really try to stay away from the word optimal because I don't even think we really know what that means.
Correct.
As all of the labs that we're testing for are at a disease level. There is truly no optimal. They have optimal ranges, but I really look at that with symptoms and patterns and determine those ranges for those people as discussions and symptoms and labs. So that's the core what I'm looking at. Now we're also checking out blood pressure. As for you, we're using some HRV stuff. So there's some other metrics. I really kind of look at like waist circumference. Not a huge fan of the scale. As we know, I could go on. We could have a separate podcast about scale, weight cutting.
You're coming
what
back.
The scale means, BMI, all that fun stuff. But overall, that's going to give you a good screenshot, like your blood pressure in the morning. Looking at all of those things can give me some insight on hormonal and metabolic health and cardiovascular. Really hormonal, metabolic, and cardiovascular health to get some ideas of where they're at. That also helps me understand where their starting point should be, what their end point is going to be, and then what I'm going to be doing nutritionally. But nutritionally is very far away. You know, it's really kind of inside of my program, at least how I coach it. The first 8 weeks, as you know, is very different. We talk about the last 8 weeks is food. The first 8 weeks is really hydration, your AM wakefulness routine, deep sleep, and a gut reset.
Yeah.
To me, like that needs to, in the way I see nutrition, that needs to be done first before we really dial into nutrition.
Why?
That's a great question. So hydration
You beat
is,
me to that one. I'm like,
it's
oh.
first and foremost, like it's, when we talk about reestablishing trust, everybody thinks it's always food, and food is always, it's really environment first.
How do you mean is that reestablishing trust? You with the person you're working with, or
Yeah.
the person with the food that they're eating?
All of it.
Oh, okay. Yes.
I'm going to
What's the
hit all
answer?
of it. So trust across the board, trust in themselves. So
okay.
up to this point, they have not been successful,
Right. So they don't
or
trust
they wouldn't be
themselves.
at my doorstep.
Right.
So the easiest thing, because people, obviously, if you're not drinking water, you're going to die. So it's something you've done a million times.
What?
But giving them a different focus, something else other than food, to start to use as like a control piece.
Right.
To be like, hey, well, you know, how much water are you drinking? When? And also, it's such an easy lever to pull. Most people sleep like crap. Most people hammer caffeine in the morning. So at least if I can get them hydrated at a cellular level, meaning also getting mineralization in there, that's something I didn't tap on in the labs, but we do test for some minerals.
Right.
If you're in a different category, but again, I have a lot of people that have some other mineral deficiencies, which we do test for, because they can be drivers of other symptoms.
So I'm going to let you do some general stuff here, and then once we got to hit a point, I'm going to say, okay, now we're going to talk about what you did with me, and step by step by step, so we can show people what that
Yeah.
looks like. But right now, I want them to have
Global.
an overview,
Sure,
right,
yeah.
if that makes sense. So you have these numbers and all of this information. Is it like I work to find, like you said, the one thing that I can get them a small win pretty quickly? It's like a psychological buy-in, physiological buy-in,
Yeah.
maybe feel a little better,
And they're going to feel better. 'cause
and then
most-
start there.
Yeah, most people aren't drinking water, which is wild to me. It's an easy one to do. It's quick. And also, it's a huge driver, like early morning hydration, because most people are sleeping, hopefully, for 6 to 8 hours. They're not moving. They're still going through respiration. And I know when I was doing like UFC weight cuts, I mean, my guys would lose sometimes 4 pounds overnight. So your body is working. It's doing stuff, and it desperately needs water. It desperately needs water. And just by getting someone hydrated, at least at a good saturation level in the morning, a lot of other things like gut motility, we can start moving some bowel stuff, so we can start getting some hydration in our organs, for God's sake. Like I've seen some people who don't drink their first like sip of water till 2 o'clock. Again, and this is very normal. So to me, it also eliminates a lot of stuff. Like, is your 3 p.m. Snickers craving, is it physiology or is it psychology? It probably won't be there if we get you hydrated. It probably won't be there if you have good sleep. You know, women, if we have a poor sleep at night, we could be subject to a 30% increase in sugar cravings the next day. That's pretty high.
Yeah, but Adrianne, I don't like the taste of water. It's disgusting. I don't want to drink that. So how can you help me drink more water when I don't even like it?
I mean, I usually don't even have those conversations because they're paying me quite a bit of money. However, we can definitely shoot that.
I know you've heard that one
Yeah.
once or twice.
We make it as fun as possible. So I will time it, be like, hey, you have to have like this amount in by this, or
Got
like
it.
put specific minerals in it. Something that's gonna.
The formula you were saying.
That's the formula. The part of it between me, them, and their labs, which
Got
really
it.
drives that hydration, and
Got
also it helps eliminate any other questions. So once I have a good hydration, then I know that some of these other symptoms of fatigue, maybe it's coming from just being chronically underhydrated, not dehydrated, not clinically underhydrated, which I believe almost every single person is walking around semi underhydrated.
Probably hard to refute.
Yeah. And then from there, once we get them pretty hydrated, then they're good. They feel better. Like, listen, I feel so much better. And they have, most important to me is they have confidence that you reestablish, like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
what's next for
Yeah.
me? What's interesting? 'Cause we did water and this wasn't food. And I'm usually attacked with food. I usually have some nutritionist.
Start beating you right
Yeah,
over the
like,
head with it.
you need to eat exactly 7 grams with this at this. Like, that's wild.
This
to me.
time, and it has to be
That's
there.
important, though it's important. That nitty gritty is important, but not right now.
Right.
We need to get trust back in the system. We need to get them feeling better and more buy-in into just themselves and health. So after the hydration, we kind of move into AM wakefulness, which is what you went through, which is resetting the circadian rhythm, which is a massive part of my program.
What is a circadian rhythm?
That's great. So that's the sleep and wake cycles that are cued by our supposedly outside environment.
Like sun up, sun down.
Correct.
If
Yep.
you will.
Circadian timing. So that's all the clocks in my system get turned on by a specific interaction with the sun. So when the sun hits my eyes, it's going to hit my retina, which actually re-signals back to this thing in your brain called the SCN, which is our suprachiasmatic nucleus. Surprised I nailed that the first time. That's the master clock. In German, it's like the Zeitgeist. Or
Right.
maybe I said it wrong, and you might have to edit that out. But it's the gatekeeper. And what that does, all of the little clocks in my body, that's going to tell everything what to do. Every hormone, every
daytime now,
metabolic
right?
function comes down to that.
Right.
So this was also a huge piece in my own journey. This is where my journey changed very much from just being a food-based nutritionist to really looking at other forms of nutrition.
When you learned about your circadian rhythm?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, what we're looking for is energy in the form of ATP. And ATP is really just a breakdown of protons, electrons, and the electron chain transport system. Like, that's literally how it works.
The adenosine triphosphate?
Yeah, ATP, that's right. So that's how we as humans, that's the energy currency our body understands. So light hits the mitochondria, which if we go back to 8th grade and think about my little cell, these little powerhouses called the mitochondria. Light at certain wavelengths, NIR, specifically near infrared, hits me and turns on those little things.
Right.
So it's interesting how we go down to the beach and you don't need to eat that much, and you rest and you sleep and you oddly have like decent amounts of energy, and everybody regenerates at the beach. We're getting good doses of sun, safe sun. You know, now there's a different story with like Ricky, the accountant in New York City, who doesn't ever go out and see the sun and then goes out to Cancun and burns his ass. Yeah, that's not great. That's not a great way to practice safe sun. So anyway, going back to this setting the clock. So we set the clocks and it sets everything in our system. So that to me was like,
So can you give us a good example of resetting?
Yeah, just when the sun's out in the morning as early as you can, just to get in the sun, especially with your eyes and naked, not like sunglasses.
Right.
So getting good amount of sunlight within the first, whenever you can. I used to be really tight on it, like sunrise, get up, but I realized so many people can't do that. There's a great app out there called My Circadian. I have no affiliate link for anyone because I'm not trying to.
We can link to it.
Yeah, My Circadian is a great app. You can type in your zone and it'll tell you like the best times to get sun. But for entrainment purposes, which is to get your body's clock set on your sleep and wake cycles, that entrainment would be best done getting it as early as you can in the morning. When I like reset my hormones at 35, which is a huge part of my story, again, I'm trying to interweave everything. This was the part that changed me and changed my practice forever.
Okay.
The light story, like that really changed everything.
I've been following you for a little while now since John's been working with you. And I know that a huge part of what I see almost every day is your picture of you like in the sun.
Yeah, like a
there
creep.
in your sunlight doing that thing.
Yeah.
Like, so that's basically what everybody could be benefiting from, right?
Well,
Like
and
what
let's-
you're saying is just
Let's so to that point,
Yeah.
Adrianne in the sun. Adrianne, you're getting up first thing in the morning and staring right at the sun?
I mean, as close as I can.
Because that's what we're supposed.
Yeah.
But staring right at it.
No, God, no! Don't stare directly at it.
Because we have to make sure people understand
Yeah,
safe sun.
Let's be safe.
If you have glasses, just stare a little bit off to the side. But
Got it.
it just goes on with your morning walk. Just like don't put sunblock on and just get out there. Mm-hmm. I mean, you could double down, and if you could get your feet in the earth, that would be great. That's even like a better benefit.
Grounding.
I thought, and to be honest, and I will never say to be honest. Let me make that a better.
I'll just edit that.
Better. I thought all of this stuff was bullshit. All of it. Because I was just a hardcore nutritionist. I was just like, it's just food. Food's the story.
Right.
Like, training, eating,
right,
sleeping.
drink.
Sleeping was a big part of it. I locked into the sleep part. I was like, that's it. But the light part really, really shook me. Because I was listening to this TED Talk, and there was this guy named Jack Kruse, who people can have their beliefs on him, but his science is pretty hard. It's pretty irrefutable. Also, the Nobel Prize and the circadian rhythm. Like, we were just understanding what's going on with circadian biology, quantum physics, marrying all that together with like bioenergy and understanding how the world works. When he got up there and was talking, he was this neurosurgeon and talking about how food didn't matter. And I was like, this arrogant person. But then again, how could I say that when it's a neurosurgeon who's had years and years of cutting people's brains open? Right. So, and it's only one person, right? So I'm like, well, this guy's crazy. So I started looking more into light and reading books. And I was like, and I always do everything very defiantly. I was like, well, you know what?
I'm going to find out.
I'm going to go see what this is about. So I went out there, I started staring at the sun for like 20 minutes in the morning and watching the sun come down every single day. And during this time, I was actually also going through a divorce and my hormones crashed really bad. I mean, that's part of like what got me into labs really bad. So I was 35, I believe 36.
I remember this time.
Yeah. And I had all of these strange symptoms that were all very much deeply stress rooted. I was working an absurd amount of time. My hands were covered in these really weird like rash bumps. Half of my hair had fallen out.
You did say that,
to the point where like I'd have my hairdresser come to my house because I was like embarrassed. Like I was always wearing a hat at this point, or like always like my hair was up, it was never down. I started to like spray some of my hair with like coloring because it was that bad. So when you're like 35 and at this point have gone to 6 different doctors, and some of them functional medicine doctors, and me being very deep in the business, I'm like, 10, 12 years in. But obviously like I don't have these degrees or these things, but I'm wondering what is going on with me.
Right.
I'm sick. I'm tired. I'm fatigued. I have black rings under my eyes that like I could not go away. And I was taking all the supplements. I was doing all the things. And every doctor I went to told me I was fine. So I went to 2 general practitioners and I went to 5 functional medicine doctors. And each one of them cost a ton of money. They ran some labs. We got to some parts of it, but by the regular doctors, they told me I was too young to have a hormone problem. So then I was like, all right, what's
really going on?
But can I see my labs?
Right.
So
see what we're talking about here?
So that's really what got me into external lab testing. So I was like, I'm going to go get my own labs and see what's going on. And then the functional medicine doctors did the same thing. They were running different labs on me, like GI maps.
Got it.
The Dutch test I had done. What else was there? Just your general hormone panels. And when I look at them now, I'm like, holy shit. Like I was crashed.
Based on your original numbers. Do you still have those?
I do still have them.
Yeah. Okay, so that's like your baseline number.
And they're terrible.
Okay. Now, I'm sorry,
No.
did you have anything right there? I find it super fascinating that you came to the conclusion to even ask the question like, hey, can I see
that?
Can I see that? But
I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know any of it meant. I was confused.
But don't most doctors, get a little pissy when you do things like that? I.e., you're not listening to me? You want to see it for yourself? Or you do not trust my word? But obviously you didn't, because you were being told you were fine, but you did not feel fine.
I was like, how can I be fine? Half of my head hair is missing. I'm sleeping but not sleeping. I had my like HRV scores. I was tracking everything. I was also having like anxiety attacks, which I've never had before. So a lot of these things were happening where I was like, what is wrong with me? And when you pay that much money to get to the problem where nobody's really fixing anything, I started to get really, really desperate. So that's when I was like, okay, let me try these other things out there. So that's when I started doing a lot of the light work. And that is the thing that improved my hormones the most. Now, there's going to be people who are like, well, I can just have crappy hormone paddles and go stare at the sun. That is not how it works. That is not how it works. I was definitely using supplementation at specific amounts, understanding like mechanism of delivery, putting that together in a program for myself, which then was the precipice of where I am now, like truly getting to the root cause and like healing people. But then using those labs every 6 months to be like, what are we improving on?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
Totally.
really understanding, okay, if we're going to do this thing, we have to improve it and let me see the labs.
Did they
Right.
give
Did
them
they
to you?
need a compass?
I also want to know as a practitioner if what I'm doing is working. So like that's really important to me. Like, is my formula or are my formulas working? So each one of those formulas I have in a huge database of every single person I've ever worked with. So those formulas have been tweaked for like 20. Actually, my system I developed in 2014. So it's been a while.
Yeah, 11 years, but you have 11 years of data, and it's constantly being updated because you're working with new people, and it's showing and reinforcing what it is that you're working on. That is actually, we'll say, the formulas themselves, even though they might need to be tailored to the person, they're working inherently.
Right.
Clearly. So now that we have some data, and really for you, so that you got your blood panels, and then you started to realize, okay, I'm doing nutrition, I'm doing supplementation, I'm doing all these things, and this is what's showing up. Then you started doing, we'll say, Safe Sun practice.
Yeah.
What did you start to notice from the change of doing Safe Sun practice? Yeah, sure, you felt better. What data did you gather from it?
So there was a couple things happening. One, my vitamin D level was really, really low.
What? No sun, no vitamin D? What?
So before this, my vitamin D was really low before the sun stuff. So I was like, that was a huge.
Did that show up in your panel?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. All right.
I went and got my own blood work done. So that's what led to now to me developing my own panels. Because I think there's certain things.
How did you do that before you even go forward? Because most people don't even realize, I think, that they can go go somewhere else and get their panel. How did you know to do that, or where did you look?
I just went to LabCorp. So any single person can go get their blood work done.
What is LabCorp? Is it like labcorp.com or something?
Just where you get your regular Quest.
Or Quest Diagnostics, so you
Quest
get blood drawn for...
And you can just get it online or script, or you can go to LabQuest or... I always put them together, LabCorp or Quest. One day I'll be able to stop doing that.
Okay.
And you can get your own labs.
Did you guys hear that?
Interpreting it is a whole different ballgame. And please, God, if anyone's listening, do not use ChatGPT to interpret your blood work.
Yeah, let's not start there. Let's
Don't
not
start
start there. But, and I don't even like that word, but, however, did you know that you are allowed to go get your own labs and blood work? Let's just start there. Okay, cool.
You shouldn't have to fight your doctor on it.
No, you should. That's the point. That's the point.
Especially at your annual physical. But for hormones, you will have to. Especially now. Like, I think now there's a way, where we are right now.
Yeah.
There's a different pushback with hormones, with everything that's going on with the FDA and the black box warning on the, hormone replacement therapy for women. That's been like very much clearly like that was effed up.
Okay.
So now we're at a different conversation, which is great with doctors and practitioners, but still, there's still kickback.
Super ground level, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where does somebody go? Their doctor's telling them they're fine. They know they're not fine. Maybe even they have blood work. Yeah. They don't know what to do with it. What now?
So they could find someone like me.
Yeah.
Right?
Just sit in the sun?
Well, no, that's it will help across the board.
Start there. And I don't say that lightly, like, just sit in the sun.
It's
clearly science.
It's also not the first time this has come up on this podcast.
And it's half the story. And this is the part where I want to make sure everyone's listening. It's half the story. The other story is dark. So everyone gets the light story pretty good. They're like, I get outside, and that's good. The nighttime story is a different story.
Okay.
So, just throwing on blue blockers won't help you.
And that's what you were wearing earlier, correct?
Right, I took those off.
Yeah.
These are more like daytime ones. Daytime's fine. So it really comes down to the signaling of the light. So during the day, I have a good amount of blue light. Blue light is not bad. I want to be clear on the camera when I say it. Blue light is not bad. We actually very much need it. It's our arousal. It's our awake. It tells us to do stuff. So during the day, when we go outside, it's about 50% blue light. The rest is a mix between near infrared and infrared to help balance that broad spectrum. It's a good signal. Okay, it's a great signal for us. Hey, you're awake, do stuff. At night, we do not want that blue light. And unfortunately, at night, all of our LEDs in our house too, the brightness effect. So not only are they inappropriately bright, so they're going to stimulate it a little bit, but you're only getting a small spectrum, and it's mostly just bright or it's blue light. All the NIR, IR has been stripped out.
Okay.
So we're just getting a bolus. We're getting a bolus of blue light.
Basically, it's just telling us to stay up. And
To stay
on.
up.
Got it.
So
Time to stay awake.
when the light comes down, this is one thing that people really don't. I'm like, you got to dim everything.
Right.
You got to dim it down, because all you're doing is sending signals. Stay awake, stay awake. People are like, I'm doing all the thing. I'm taping my mouth. I got my nose strips on. I got rib, but they're like baking under these type of lights at night, which is sending the signal to your brain, stay awake. And so many people that come into my practice have deep sleep issues. Deep sleep issues. And a lot of that can be corrected by their nighttime. So a lot of that's really important, especially at night. Dark is really important because it helps cue melatonin. And melatonin is a thermoregulatory circadian hormone. Let's double down. Thermoregulator circadian hormone, which means it tells the body, hey, we need to do our dark cycle, which is starting to cool the body off, getting you into sleep. It modulates the GABA receptor. So it's it's regulatory of the GABA system. So the GABA system is really designed to calm us down, cue the parasympathetic. For those that don't know, it's parasympathetic id. It's our rest and digest. It's our chill factor zone. Okay, so it's telling us we got to go to bed. And if we put blue light in the way of that, you're giving an opposite signal. So many of us are walking around with completely misaligned, mismatched signals. We're getting up in the morning. Again, 93% of Americans don't get outside for more than 5 minutes. And it's odd that 93% of Americans have suboptimal metabolisms. And when I say metabolism, let's not think this. Metabolism, your metabolic pathways are how you take energy in, like light, like food, and how you utilize it for food, which is ATP. There's a big problem in America with the energy sources we're getting and converting it to fuel because everyone is tired, constantly tired. And they're trying, and this is the thing where my heart just breaks. People are trying. They're trying their hardest.
Agreed.
They're trying to drink more water. They are trying to sleep. They're doing the things, but they're just not getting better because the core of this is a mitochondrial issue. It's at the functioning part of the cell. There is not enough energy happening inside the mitochondria. And the way that you pierce that is through multiple different modalities, but one of them is light. You have cold thermogenesis. You have heat thermogenesis. There's a lot of these different biohacks that work under the bioenergetic field, which are super important. But when we get down to the core of it, the easiest part of it is like getting some light in the morning, and at night just trying to keep things as dark as possible, and maybe not blasting your phone this far from your face at night. I mean, that's why my phone, if you can zone in on here, is like red. There's nothing in there. I pulled off all the filters. And if you want to track this I don't know what exact labs you're looking for, but I've seen like HCRSP number. I'll never say that one right either. HCRP numbers come down. So C-reactive proteins, the systemic inflammation. I've seen that come down quite a bit.
Right.
Because if they're not as aroused at night, then they can get to sleep earlier. We can close that sleep latency window. We can get deeper restorative sleep. So those 5 sleep cycles of 90 minutes, maybe they can go all the way through. Maybe you don't have fragmented sleep because we're doing this all day, and then we try to get in the bed and think, I'm just supposed to go to sleep? No. You're going to have racing thoughts. Most of the people I talk to can't go to sleep. I'm just sitting there thinking of all the shit I have to do. So there's no cool down. And as athletes, we understand warm up.
Right.
We understand cool down. So when I talk to an athlete about it, they're like, oh, my sleep. I'm like, you do a warm up, right? Would you just jump into a game? They're like, no. I'm like, well, you just don't jump into sleep either. You just don't jump into sleep. You have to cool that down. And depending on your stress levels, and that's the thing, this is what helps design the formulas, depending on those numbers will be indicative of what I need to do. Like, do they need a supplement or do they not? Do they just need some do they just need some hard discipline?
You could say it if you have to.
Okay. And understanding that has a lot to do with like sleep debt and understanding sleep debt scores and using that type of data when we get to that point. But that really helps calm the system down. So when you're like walking through my system, hydration and AM are first, and then it's PM, sleep, and then really understanding deep sleep, setting those 3 up, then the gut reset, which you're about to do. But so at this point, we're hydrated. We understand that that's not an issue anymore. You're feeling better. Your thirst is regulated. You're probably not crashing as much. Most people in the first 2 weeks just aren't crashing until 2 o'clock, which is their normal crash. After AM and PM, we get their circadian rhythm synced. They're starting to feel a lot better. They're sleeping better. They're having more energy. They might actually want to work out, because a lot of people just actually do not have the physical raw materials to work out, which is ATP. They don't have enough energy.
Yeah.
They're not making energy. So light makes energy. It literally, from the electron chain transport system, goes to the cytochrome C oxidase, which is a part in the electron chain transport that turns on your ATP. It's literally like an ignition. And it'll go, we'll do some stuff. Peptides do this too, and that's another conversation. But it'll go in there and actually create that ATP.
Yeah.
The protons, electron, the nutrients that we're looking for from food can also happen with light. We don't have to be on either side of the fence. Why don't we just do them together?
Right.
We don't have to do that. We can just do it together.
Okay.
You know, so now we're getting the raw materials. People are feeling better.
Yeah.
And that can be as easy as in the morning getting some light, and at night turning some stuff down. Maybe putting your phone down, having a cutoff time for work, like no screens, and turn the damn lights down.
This is fascinating. This is another level deeper into some stuff, like Jeremy said, that we have kind of talked about a little bit topically on here. It also explains we'll say the marketing rise in things like get your sauna, get your cold plunge, get your whatever all these things are, like you said, to pierce. Yeah, I see that big exhale.
Yeah. Sorry. My body doesn't hide that very well.
This is why we're on the I Am Not Okay channel. We don't lie here, even energetically in her body. That statement, those marketing, basically what I'm hearing is those things could possibly be a mechanism for you to feel better, but it sounds like they're being marketed to you as the way to start getting better and the only thing that might work for you. Not, hey, maybe you should understand what's going on underneath and then selectively choose the thing. It could be the cold. It could be the hot. It could be a peptide. It could be something. But
Maybe you're just thirsty.
Maybe you're just thirsty.
Yeah.
Maybe you just need some sun.
Maybe you need a little sunlight.
So maybe we don't need to just jump right into the cold plunge or the 250-degree sauna right off the bat. It doesn't mean those things aren't useful. It means, do we know that we actually need them? So
Sure.
Is there anything else you'd like to say about that? And then if you want, we can break me open and go into specifics now.
They're very much ancillaries.
Okay.
So in my opinion, they all work, right? So all
They
of
have a
these
place,
things work.
right?
Yeah. And this is a big difference between a strategy and a tactic. So those to me are tactical approaches that should be included inside of a generalized strategy. So if I'm dealing with a human, I have a strategy on when I'm going to use them, how I'm going to use them. They're simply a tool. Yes, they can, for more people, the tool is going to work a lot better. So for some people that might need cold because they don't have access to light, they might need cold for different reasons. Maybe they've got someone that has like a ton of systemic inflammation, I'm probably going to use a little bit more cold thermogenesis, but at specific times and not to make it terrible so the person will actually do it. Sauna, again, depending on what you need. I know it's great for like development of like heat shock proteins, which is the coupling and uncoupling of protein. It can be really great for that to help with recovery. It really depends on when you're going to do it. And some people, these things don't work well on at all. There's certain populations that it's not going to work great on. Yeah. There's certain populations that cold isn't going to work great on. Again, I think both these things mostly work well on everyone, but you should get a prescription for it. You should know exactly how much you should be doing. You shouldn't be guessing. You should be most likely cycling these things like everything else. Like it shouldn't be the main package deal, like just sit in a sauna 3 times a week. Yes, you're probably going to feel better, but are you hydrating for that? Like the core fundamentals of like good nutrition, movement, sun, and water are really kind of it. Everything on top of that, I think, will help.
Yeah.
It can be what I call like a regulator or a modulator, but not the main thing.
Well, those things could be supplements as well.
They are supplements.
You take them as supplements.
Yeah, I take them literally as
the main
supplements.
dish.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the point that I wanted everybody to understand is like, yeah, they might help you, but they're probably in addition to, not the main course.
Correct.
Cool. So let's start breaking open that main course. You started working, understanding the light for yourself. That led you to getting your labs, crack open your labs to see what the light was actually doing data-wise. Yeah. And now, full circle, you are a clinical nutritionist who looks at labs and does this for a living. And so, look, honestly, what I noticed was it wasn't a change in what you were doing, but for me, I pick up on when people go a little deeper and they're talking about things that are not generic They're not just topical. They're not the same as everybody else. I pick up on that thread. I know I'm different that way, but about 6 to 8 months ago, you started just some of the things you were putting out with creatine, with sun, with the stuff you were talking about. And I reached out to you behind closed doors, or I was like, yo, what the fuck's going on here? There's a shift. There's a shift in you. Let's talk about that shift.
Yeah, I think that probably was about a year ago.
Maybe a year.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
it's been a minute.
It's been a minute, and that's a little bit more of a story backwards, but I'll try to summarize that up. I switched out of my PhD program. So I enrolled in a PhD program at Saybrook University to literally study light. So PhD was in functional integrative nutrition. I did 2 years there, and I was on my way to my thesis, and I just got like hit here. And I was talking to my advisor as well, and my future, the way I wanted to use it wasn't how I wanted to use it. So for PhDs, you kind of will end up in research or academia, and there's only 0.3% of RDs, like a registered dietitian or nutrition, that have a degree past that. So there's this huge gap in our world with nutrition between like your regular 4-year degree and then nothing else. So I was like, well, the next step's a PhD, because I didn't know of the current program that I'm in right now, which is exactly where I want to be. And I'm so happy I found it. So it was a little hard pill to swallow when you're 2 years in. So a lot of my research and study was still in research. That's the crazy thing when you're getting a PhD. Most of your classes are in research. So you're learning how to conduct research, how to read research, how to find the best controls, mechanisms. So it was a lot less nutrition and way more research. Okay. So that's when I was like, dang, I think I made the wrong move. But I didn't. Like, everything I learned was so useful. And plus it helped prime my brain for what I'm doing right now. Got it. So I pivoted, and now I'm in a DCN program, which is a doctorate of clinical nutrition, which there's only actually 100 of us in the US. It's a very, very hard degree to get. Okay. Past your 4 years, you have to go back to school almost for a year, then take 3.5 years of just clinical work. So it's heavy. And most of it is biochemistry. Like, that's what you'll be doing. You'll just be doing biochem. So that's what I mean. Going back, I needed answers. And I found them in the biochemistry. I found them in bioenergetics. I found them in quantum physics, like the really hard sciences. That's where the things, I believe, the answers are. And then being applied to the now human, that is not the same that we use in our research studies. This is the part that really bent my brain in my research study. I'm like, we're looking at like obese people for everything, and most of the people I treat are non-obese. And some people are obese, but a lot of the research, and then it's just, there's a lot of caveats within that. So I was just like, I was pivoting around, and then I was like, I just want to work in healthcare, and applied healthcare is clinical nutrition. So the doctorate of the clinical nutrition program was actually recently developed in like 2012. And I mean, Rutgers, I think last year only graduated like 5 to 6 people. So it's hard and it's grinding, but that's exactly what I want. I want that like top tier knowledge so I can look down there and just start to work. I think the higher you go in my world, you can then do what you want to do. You're going to hit into a bunch of spokes, which is like another doctor or something where I want to just like run a clinic and then do my own thing, I want to do it, but work with probably like a DO or an MD and really just manage nutrition at that level, have our labs in there, everything just like good to go. So that, I don't know if that indirectly or directly answered your question.
No, actually you did a great job of answering my question, because what it helps me understand is that like, well, what I noticed the difference was you kind of were talking pretty researchy, then you stopped.
Yeah. There was a focus shift.
And I was like, oh, now she's speaking to me.
Yeah, well that was a huge disconnect.
And that's when I felt. And it's not that I wasn't in contact with you before, but honestly, here right now, it's been about 5 or 6 years since I've had you in my presence. Yeah. It was before COVID.
Yeah, which is wild.
And because like a lot of time, a lot of things have shifted and changed, but we've known each other now over 20 years. Yeah. So I wanted to understand like why the shift, right? Sure. But then all the things that you were talking about were starting to resonate with me, because I was lifting, sleeping, doing all the things, and still kind of an angry asshole. Could still be pretty much of a prick. Even though I know the people that care about me and the ones that are here and the people in our extended family at BKS, were able to see the good in John and the kindness of what I wanted to create here. But every once in a while, they'd get a taste of like what was lingering underneath. And that started to come out in ways that I was not proud of, right? And so when you started talking about things like, yo, the sun helped me calm my shit down. The understanding my labs helped me understand my hormones. Resetting my hormones helped me feel like I could be more present with my work and work 18 hours a day and focus and do all these things. And I'm like, you know, I try to do all this stuff, but am I really doing it? Can I talk to her? Do you know? And that was the story going on in my head. So I don't remember how long it was that I reached out and I was like, we had a podcast scheduled 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell that story of why I had to get rescheduled or skip over?
I just don't, I don't even, what happened?
Your dad?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So my dad had a heart attack. So again, this is a lot of the reasons why I'm in like what I do. Cardiovascular on that side is not great.
Right.
So I'm half Puerto Rican. So my last name's Ortiz, if people don't know. And on that genetic side, my grandfather had a double bypass. My dad just had a stent put in. So there's a lot of stuff happening that even before that, I was really cognizant of.
Right.
So like biomarker testing, APOA, APOB, really important because I wanted to know, like, do I have those particles that are going to be, you know, inside of me that could possibly lodge and me have a heart attack.
Right.
And my percentage rate for that going into my 50s is at 50%. 50%. That's what I'm looking at.
That's wild.
And that's not how I'm going to do my life.
Okay.
So things, that was like one. I feel like it's always something. So I'm like, what part was it then?
No, right. No, but it's an important part.
Yeah.
Because exactly what you're doing. And then from that, you started to tell me, and without getting too much into his specifics, you read Doug's blood work.
Yeah.
He was on a not good path.
Yeah. And I don't know how great he's going to be about me telling his story, but I'll
just do topical.
Yeah. His lipid panel wasn't great. And I really got on his butt. And
do you remember
his...
what you said to me? If he doesn't do anything about this, he'll be that guy that's dead at 45 at a heart attack.
Yeah, pretty much. I think I told him the same thing.
Yeah.
But we see these healthy people that drop, and people are like, oh, no, what happened to that guy, Gary? He ran on the treadmill. I saw him every day, and they just had a heart attack. These are the underlying issues. This is when you have high LDLs and low HDLs, and your triglycerides are really high. It's always not one thing. That's the thing with labs. You just can't look at one number. Like seeing most people are suboptimal, and it's all pointing from a pathology. It's all pointing from a specific system that isn't running well. And then systems-wise, then you're looking at cellular function. And that will always root cause down to mitochondrial dysfunction. So at the end of the day, the root cause always comes down there. It's just which way?
Yeah.
How is it being blocked? And that's my job. My job is like a CSI case is to figure that out with a team. Like it is just me, but I have, practitioners around me. I have colleagues. I'm in a doctorate program, so I can always have another person look over my work, which I think is really important. In nutrition, sometimes we're just these singular people, or even as strength coaches, and you're not in a community to run ideas by.
Right.
Where I'm like constantly like always thinking,
what do you think about this?
Yeah, is this the best way? Like,
am I missing something? Yeah.
That's what drives me. That's what always drives me to like keep researching, stay in the pocket, like keep my pulse in the fitness world, because a lot of really great information can spill over from there into nutrition.
Yeah.
And a lot of those things just constantly creeping up, and it creeps up over time. That's why I think it's really important to get your labs done now, especially if you're in your 40s, at least for your own self, to start understanding how your body works and have a baseline. Here's where I was 40, 45, 50. So you can start looking at your trends and just have some good data on yourself. But most people don't consider their labs till it's too late, till they do have a stroke, till they do have a heart attack, and you can look back and like you want to shake them. Right. And some people I have those really difficult conversations with. Those conversations are, if this perpetuates, you will not be around in 24 months. And sometimes the labs are that bad, and then I have to contact their physician. Okay. And we're in a tag team partnership. It's never just like doctors are evil. There are some really great physicians out there that are really trying to do some great work. Sure. Unfortunately, the older ones are phasing out. So we have some newbies coming up. So hopefully that really helps shift things moving forward. But yeah, my current trust in the medical system's pretty low. I mean, I think most people are there at this point. And we don't need to go on a huge tirade on that. I think that's well done.
Nope.
I think that's well done.
So what we'll do is we'll come back full circle, and that I noticed that, well, what you told me about Doug was specifically, that clicked for me, and I was like, all right, I know Doug. He's a year or two younger than me.
Right.
Some of these are things that I could be doing. And then honestly, when you told me what happened with your dad, that clicked off in me. I was like, fuck, man, like maybe I need to. So I was like, look, no problem. Of course, we could have to reschedule. We're going to do this later.
Yeah.
No worries. You let me know when you have time. But what I said to you was, hey, I think I'm ready to do something like this. And maybe by the time you come back, we can talk about what you actually do.
Right.
Yeah.
And so here we are.
Yeah.
Now, and I'm okay with you telling your version of whatever you noticed. But I came to you, I was like, Adrianne, I think it's time for me to work with you. And you told me exactly, John, here's this link, get your test, schedule it, let me know when it's done. Mm-hmm. Okay. What did you learn from my blood work? What did you see? Break open John. Here we go.
I'd have to pull up your profile because I can't.
Don't give him everything.
I won't. I can't. There's so many people. So
I know, you can't remember off the top.
Give me a moment. And I should have maybe prepared a little bit for that question.
Oh, you had to know it was coming.
But yeah, I did.
Right.
Just give me a
We
minute.
can edit it through the magic
Yeah,
of editing.
you can edit this part.
Through the magic of editing. We
Look,
can
5 minutes later, here we are.
Yeah, here we go. John Bear's Precision Health Strategy. Cool, and I have like 2% battery. It's always great.
I'll pull it up on mine.
Yeah, I got it. Oh, John, your labs.
Yeah, thanks. Go ahead. Tell him how awful it was.
Okay, so we can go from here. So TSH, so thyroid stimulating hormone, was really, really high, which that will lead to, fatigue, slow metabolism as well. T3 and T4 weren't in great ranges, so that helps drive how your thyroid, which conducts hormone metabolism. Testosterone was midpoint.
It was like okay, but being suppressed.
Okay. Estradiol was high.
Right.
Ferritin was high, and you had some glucuronidase, which is a key enzyme that helps. Basically, it'll help break estrogen down. It's going to continue to circulate in the system. So a lot of women that I get and men that have high estrogen is usually from poor liver function. Mm-hmm. So not being able to break apart the estrogen so it doesn't recirculate back into the system. So some people have just constant circulation. So their estradiol gets higher, and then suppression has to happen with other hormones. So it's like this vicious cycle where people think it's a hormone issue. Yes, but it's actually coming from your liver. Right. So maybe if we clean up that and see how your hormones go. Right. And that's more of a functional practice way to look at things, which is also really important from, again, systemic pathology. Like we really want to check those things off instead of just hormone therapy, which I'm a huge fan of. However, again, I think foundational things need to be done as a tool, right? But we need to get the body clear. That's why, again, that's when we get into the gut reset, which you're about to enter. We do for John's going to be much deeper than most people because he does have some inflammation in that liver, in that area.
But here's one for you. So you got my labs and you saw that my testosterone was like in the mid-range, whatever it was. And yes, it could be better. But what we learned is like, and some people could have read that and been like, well, John, just get on TRT. Here you go. Like let's boost that. No, you went, hey, I think it's being suppressed by glucuronidase.
Yep.
Which is, I believe, might be like a mold pattern of bacteria in your stomach. And then you actually started to, kind of like we do here, you asked me some deeper questions. Hey, John, do you ever lose a lot of weight at a certain point of time? Tell me a little bit about what happened when things went with your brother. What was that time? Like when you lost him? Oh, and then a year later, you lost your cousin. Oh, and then right after that, you lost like 50 pounds. Oh, so, right? Like, but you kept asking because the data wasn't adding up. What I was doing wasn't adding up. And we had to go a little deeper.
You always have to go deeper.
I didn't know I needed that. And literally, that's what the fuck I do for people. Right? So how could I not know that, but also, like be open to understanding information that I don't think that I know, that I allow somebody else outside of me to look at. And that's where we've started to go. And now, because one of the fucking first things you said to me after looking at my labs, you're like, oh my God, I would want to punch somebody in the face too if I fucking had this blood profile.
I think I would just
literally what she fucking said to me.
I think I'd be angry. And a lot of that work, I have to give credit to like my FIN training, which is in functional integrative nutrition, which is the model that they follow in functional integrative nutrition. So it's the FIN model. And a lot of that is looking deeply into, in FIN, you look all the way up to how you were born. And before that, like how your mom's health was before you, how you were born, the type of bacteria.
Go backwards.
Whether you were like a vaginal birth, a C-section birth, and a lot of that has meaning. Like all of these things, that's why I think being trained, I thought it was such a deleterious decision for me when I went into my program now, because I'm a little bit older, you know? I don't think I'm that old, but I'm 43 going into this program where most people are going in at like 35. Like I'm the oldest person in my program right now.
Right.
However, I think that's awesome for me because I have a lot of lifetime experience, but my PhD research and FIN training helped me in different ways where I do ask those deep-rooted questions, and we're looking at antecedents, we're looking at triggers, we're going back, and what we do is a timeline of trauma. FIN is a timeline of trauma. We go back and we look at these hashes on these timelines and then look at your hormones. We look at your endocrine system. We look at what was triggered on that. So how many times has that central nervous system been trashed? How many times is the HPA axis, which for those that don't know what that is, it's your hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal complex.
There it is.
I have a little bit of an issue enunciating words. So HPA axis, when we're looking at that, how many times has that been strained up to this point? And for most people, it's like 10 times. Nobody shows up at my door at 40, 50, and 60 without like 20 trauma points.
Incidents, yeah.
So I'm looking at trauma points from surgeries, injuries, deaths, divorce. We're looking at how many times has that system been strained, right? But then nobody talks about that with you.
Nope.
They go, I got to eat 150 grams of protein. Great. Cool. That's awesome information. But how is my gut breaking that down? How is my nervous system responding to that? I mean, we all know if we've been in a shitty place, it doesn't matter what diet you do, doesn't matter what exercise program, you're not going to see any gains whatsoever because you're trying to stress an already stressed out system.
Right.
It doesn't work. And if you don't get to the questions, if you don't get to the root cause, then you're just throwing a Band-Aid on top of another Band-Aid that stresses another system, that stresses another cell, that stresses more functionality. And so you go, oh, that. And even if that's not the core, that's a huge lever.
Point, right.
Yeah.
That's a good linchpin to pull, and we clear that out.
Right.
Then let's see the system heal itself. Then we can, like I told you, at 4 months, we can have a possible conversation about hormones and peptides, but that's not even on the table until you get your shit straight.
Yeah.
And so our foundation of our human system is laid out and you're operating from here, then we can have a conversation about it. But a lot of people, like, I get it. Look, I'm in the perimenopause space and we're all in this transition. I understand what it's like to be in pain, especially with your hormones. I get it. I've walked through that door and it's not fun to be invalidated. It's not fun to go into doctor's offices and say, you're fine.
Right.
When of course I'm not. I'm not okay.
I wouldn't fucking be here if I felt fine.
I'm not okay. I'm not great. I'm not great. So, and then to have doctors continuously brush you off, invalidate you, not listen to your story and be like, well, you know what? Here's an Ambien, maybe to help you sleep.
Right.
Okay, that doesn't change anything, but thanks.
Yeah.
And I understand also that certain drugs across the spectrum are incredibly important, especially people that are going through trauma. If they have to go on an SSRI, anything like that, an MOI inhibitor, I get it. I understand that can be a life support. But then there needs to be further conversation of what that does to the body long term. And are we going to stay on this? Like, are you doing this with your therapy? And then what does it look like after that? Because these drugs have long term effects that are not great for the health human system at all. So I'm talking like most people that are coming to my door have been on Lexapro for 15 years.
Yeah.
And that's pretty normal. And my question is, most of these people are on the healed end of the spectrum, but they're still taking it and they want to get off these drugs. So, and sometimes it's very hard to improve the human system if we have such high doses of other things in the way.
There it is.
Yeah.
There
So
it is.
it's like so hard to heal when we have these other things really blocking. Now I understand if something happened to you, you literally have a chemical imbalance in your brain.
Right.
You have a death or a trauma and it is serious. You are not going to be right in the head. And that's just a great way to say it. You aren't. Your brain chemistry has been permanently altered. And that's what these drugs are there for, to help bring that together for a specific period of time, for you to heal. And then we move on to, now let's get your chemistry back without these things. Maybe it's a year or two after, but then get you in a, whatever group therapy and training and community and natural stuff.
Right.
And there's peptides now that mimic these things. And I mean where we are now is quite amazing, where we could segue into those things, but it's an inappropriate conversation to have unless you've done like some really good work on your body.
Most people fake fine. Are you one of the few who will rise? Comment BKS below, and we'll arm you with the first tool to fight pain and build strength that's actually worth sharing. See you in the gym. Now back to the show.
Well, and okay, so I'm just going to talk about my own labs and how it translates into what you're talking about here. But I actually believe, based on what you've told me, based on the questions that you've asked me, this glucuronidase.
You say it better than I do.
Well, you did it really good that one time, so I remember.
One time.
Glucuronidase. So it's a bacteria in my stomach, i.e., like it's something that
Liver.
my body is, or my liver, excuse me,
That's
that
okay.
my body is already suppressing and having to fight on a daily basis.
Sure, yeah.
So if it's already fighting that, that's shuttling resources which could be used to improving my testosterone production and everything else, i.e., if I start to clear up what's going on in my liver, then and my body can now utilize the testosterone that was being suppressed should my number or ability to use testosterone improve and or go up.
We'll see.
And that's kind of like,
and maybe it's not.
and it might not.
Yeah.
However, I feel better.
Yeah, that's the key.
Feel my feeling, knowing that I don't have to jump right on hormone replacement therapy. I don't really want to do that. I don't actually believe I need it. I want to understand what's going on in my body to why my fucking hormones are naturally being suppressed.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And it's going to naturally, I mean, we lose growth hormone at a 1% rate past the age of 30. So 1% per year. So I'm already looking at my age a 10% deficit. So I'm 10% deficit in growth hormone, probably a little bit more, probably like 12 to 13. So right there, I'm going to have other systemic strains because I don't have that. Because people are like, I just want to look like I did like when I was like 28. I'm like, you had all of your growth hormone then, and all of your hormones are optimal. So that's a great time and space, but like where you probably don't have the same environment that you had at 28 either. You know, and it's interesting when I ask people about, you know, when they were the healthiest in their life, because I always ask that. I'm like, when were you the healthiest? People can script that out. Like it's an instant recall memory, like I was doing this, and this. So I'm like, so you know that routine, so it does work, or at that time it worked. So it's plugging these environmental controls back in.
Got it.
And I think environment is way more important than nutrition at first. And then nutrition can be plugged back in because every diet does it the opposite way. They try to plug in nutrition to an environment that doesn't work.
I was going to say, what do you mean by environment?
So environment, I mean your like household, your the way that you run your life. So the way that you get up, your job, everything that is your current day, your environment. And people just don't have the same environmental inputs and outputs as they once did. When I was 28, I was outside way more. I walked around a lot more. You know, I naturally moved a lot more.
Yeah.
And when you look at people now, they move a lot less.
Yeah.
And they're eating practically indoors all year round. You know, there's so many things that contribute like to the now of where we are. But at the end of the day, our environmental inputs are the most important thing that are going to drive your physiology. That's going to drive change.
Okay.
And that's light, water, sleep. Yes, food matters. I mean, I'm a clinical nutritionist. I'm telling you, food is so important.
Right.
But it's usually the last lever to pull. Unless you're literally eating like toxic mold every single day.
Well, what is it? 40 seconds? 40 seconds, like
molded.
without air, you could pretty much be brain dead. 4 days without water, you pretty much could be dehydrated
10
and
days
on your
without
way.
food, yeah.
And then 10 to 40 days without food. Like, so there's like a level of importance here.
Yeah.
And one of the levers you've been pulling with me, hey, John, clean out the filter in your room. Like clean out you have like a room filter, a fan that's going, clean the filter out. Make sure that your environment for where you sleep is clean. Make sure it's cool. Make sure there's not extra lights in there.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the stuff that yes, I knew a lot of it. Yes, I did probably 97% of it. Having a formula to when and how to do it to bring all of that full circle and make a habit out of it, I really believe is what is going to allow people, because who the fuck wants to think about all of this stuff all the time? Nobody wants to. I get it. Even when they come in here, you said something like, And Jeremy and I, what we do on our end is they come in and we ask, like you can see our levers on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Did you sleep last night? Did you get some protein? Did we drink, a decent amount of whatever? Da-da-da-da. But when a person comes in and their energy is just off, hey, how you do with those things? Okay.
They half-ass it.
What else is really going on?
Right.
This happened. My
Right.
kids, my parents, my
Yeah.
job, my dog,
The stress, the thing, the whatever.
all the time.
We ask, give them a space maybe to release some of it. Then the workout that day gets better and the recovery gets better. So inadvertently, not through scientific data, just trial and error, because all the things science said worked did for a while until they didn't.
Yeah.
And then, I started questioning, well, why? Okay, if you did all of those things, what else is going on in your life,
Yeah,
et cetera,
yeah.
et cetera.
Right.
So we kind of almost inadvertently ended up in a very similar place.
Yeah, it's the environmental inputs. It really is. And it's the most important driver. And we neglect it constantly. Like we forget about the conversations to be had of like what the person's going through at the current time or what they have been through up to that point. And that also has a very unique tie-in with nutrition. People have a lot of nostalgia around meals. People have a lot of
What was yesterday?
yeah, people have yesterday was Turkey Day. Like we have a lot of nostalgia around how we eat, when we eat. Everything about eating is very routine and it's animalistic.
A lot of feelings.
There's a lot of feelings. There's so many feelings. I mean, I'm like when I eat, I'm just like like I'm like a little happy dancer when I eat. So I know everybody has their eating story too.
Sure.
And also a huge reason why I put food in the back end of my program is because so many people come into my program with previous disordered eating. Almost everyone has had some sort of caloric restriction done in their time. So really understanding that, forming a different relationship with their food. And we deeply go into, you haven't reached that part, but we go into the relationship with your food, which people completely neglect quite a bit. And I'm not demonizing that because it's really not taught. Like we haven't been taught really to have any sort of relationship with our food other than just like shoving it in our mouths as fast as possible, not even tasting it, like just, I can speak from that because I was one of those people. So a lot of these things get lost in the weeds because there is so much information out there. And often it's contradictory and it's confusing. Like we read in the news, like broccoli is going to save your brain. And then 2 minutes later, it's going to give you cancer. So cool. What do I do with that? Right. And everybody knows I need to work on these things. But how and when? Like I'm working an 8-hour job. I've got 2 kids. Finances are stressed. I have no limited
My
time.
parents are falling apart and they need my help too.
Exactly. Caregivers. So we're in such a different field where we are having so much stress, like nobody has time.
Yeah.
So that's why I said the linchpin is really important to understand where am I going to allocate that 10 minutes or 5 minutes of time? Is it going to be towards my sleep? Is it going to be towards my hydration, my fueling? Where is it going to go? And that's my job. My job is to break things down and make them stupid simple and give everybody like you one thing to focus on for 2 weeks. And then we test it. Did it work?
Right.
And then
How about that?
Right. It's like what always drew me, like what always has been interesting to me is like,
How about that?
it's funny. It's so simple, but I hate that I need science to back any of this up.
Right.
It's so simple where it's like, we all know the sun's good for us, right? We all know that we should probably drink water. And we all know that like certain foods are probably good for us and certain foods aren't. However, again, I'm learning this even in my own program, how deeply off nutrition labels are. So in general, most nutrition labels are off by 20%. So right there, you're getting a difference between reliability and validity in science. For if people to understand these terms, something is valid as close to 0, meaning it's the most valid thing. Like for body weight, we consider a DEXA scan as valid. But what's reliable is your scale because you have access to it. But it is sure as shit not valid. It's not DEXA. It's not real. But it's reliable, right? So like foods, although they're 20% off, they are reliable. If I use that same thing every day,
Sure.
I have a reliability.
Baseline, right.
Right, but often it's not exactly great.
Sensible.
And I just had a recent client we were going through and understanding like her fats were completely off constantly. So this is where the deep nutrition work goes in and looking at their logs, which is quite easy now because I have an app that can do all this for me. So I'm looking in and I'm like, oh my gosh, like her dairy intake fats are incredibly high. Not that dairy for her is bad, but dairy fats are not great. So we had to just think of a couple key swaps. She feels a lot better, moved along, great. Again, those are some key things. It's like, well, what do I focus? Do I work out more? It's like, no, based on what we do, this is what needs to be done. This will help everything else move along. So it's really like segmenting that down. And that's where like in my opinion, like the 8-week nutrition part is where we kind of handle those. And it goes usually significantly longer than that. However, it's understanding the food piece. Like, what do I really need to focus on? And every single person is different.
Correct.
On like, what do they need to focus on? Vegetable intake. Do they need to focus on hit their more daily protein requirements? Are they eating the wrong type of carbohydrates at the wrong time? And it's so many questions, but that's my job. My job is to ask all those questions and to clear it out one thing at a time. So at the end, their physiology did actually change all the way through. And I think if you handle it that way, test, retest along the way, that's when you do see those labs completely change.
Okay.
So that's why I think it's really interesting and fun.
Beyond interesting. Do you have anything there?
No.
Do you think it would be more valuable for people to hear more about what you have me doing and give them a topical overview of the system? Or would it be more valuable to teach them the general levers they can start pulling before they need to get to you?
Yeah, I think teaching them the levers. Cool. I think we kind of we did kind of work.
We did enough
through.
with me.
Yeah, we
cool.
can do.
Hey, if you guys have questions about my shit, ask me in person, put them in the comments, whatever. Yeah. Adrianne's not here to talk about me, just to show the process.
Yeah,
right?
I think.
And we'll come back. She's going to come back when I'm done her program, and we'll break out all the shit.
Yeah, and I love, that's the thing. I think when people are like really always like, how come we don't post like a lot of before and afters anymore? I'm like, well, because that does happen. Like there is massive body transformations when you get their cells. Right?
Hell yeah.
People's like faces change. When I do their intakes, which with you, I record all of them. And I love it because I always go back and they're usually when people start, they're like, yeah, I just kind of, and then at the end, they're like peppy, they're bright. They actually have like vitality. Like they actually have energy.
Right.
Like you've done a huge difference in like your vibration has changed. So it's really rad. But in general, some key points is in the morning, early AM hydration.
Okay.
Like 40 ounces of water within 4 hours.
Okay.
I don't give a total hydration number, but that in itself can really help move the needle along.
Just kick off the day.
Yeah, it does a lot from like appetite suppression, which I'm not a huge fan of because I want people to eat, but a lot of people just don't have a biofeedback, a tuning fork, the difference between even appetite and cravings. Some people don't even understand the discernment there. So do I actually have a drive to eat, which is my appetite,
right,
or my craving? That's a distinct sensation for something usually salty or sweet or savory,
Yep.
right? So most people don't really have that, or they don't know how to parlay that with underhydration. So it's like, are you thirsty or are you hungry? And most people honestly do not have that discernment.
Right.
So I really start with water and understanding like what you need. Like, do you need water? Do you need a sandwich, or do you need sleep if you have a headache? It's got to be one of those three.
Got it.
Right. And if it's not, then again, we have something else going on. So early AM hydration, 40 ounces and 40 water. As for the morning, just try the best you can to get some AM light.
Okay.
Is there an optimal time for that?
As early as you can. If
Right,
it,
and an
the
optimal
closest
window of time too?
I'd say like if you can do it within the first hour. If you can't, then try to get as much as you can during the day.
Fair enough.
in the morning, it'll help with entrainment. However, any extra sun throughout the day is going to help with vitamin D. It's going to help with mood. It's going to help with metabolism. So it's going to help with a lot of different things, just getting a good dose of sun.
Yeah.
At night, sorry, did you have another one?
Well, so what I've heard, because I'm going to, right, all the things the internet says, before 10 a.m., because we want to get more red light in, and between 10 a.m. and we'll say 4 p.m., not that that light is bad, but it is clearly, could be, like the person you said, don't go down to Mexico, not be in the sun, and then be out in the sun all day and burn up, right? So teaching people how to have safe sun, what I've heard
Skin
was
callousing.
For the idea of setting, resetting, or kind of kicking off my circadian rhythms, do your best to get it before 10 a.m. in the eye without glasses. Just sit outside. Don't look directly into the sun. Maybe off to the side, 5 to 7 minutes, maybe 10 on your way. And then same thing at night after 4 p.m. if you can kind of get that 5 to 7 minutes.
If you can.
If you can.
If you can't, just turn off as many lights. Just go with the sun. And when it's down, like we should be going down, but so many people have flipped circadian rhythms. Where in the morning, especially when I look at their like cortisol, we have what's called a cortisol awakening system. That's how we rise. Like how we wake up is our body temperature. It starts to rise. We get out of sleep. And the next thing we're looking for is light. You know, you don't keep all your shades down. You get the shades, you put on cold water. Like we are inherently doing these things that we just have gotten away from. The first thing we do is usually most people get their phone and the first thing they're getting is like a huge bolus of blue light, which again isn't I do think it's
a kind
great.
of light though, right?
It is, but like that's a whole different conversation. Like getting outside is like one of the most important things, like getting outside.
So there's an offshoot question. All right, I live in Canada. I don't get as much light as everybody else. How the fuck do I get this light?
That's perfect, because I actually do have a couple clients in Canada.
I know, I saw your post. And he was like, look, this is my door right now. And it was like a little flicker of like light. And he's like, how do I get this sunlight at first thing?
Yeah, if you can't do that, you're trying then to just get as much sun as you can during the day.
Got it.
So, 5 minutes of sun in the morning could be a little bit different, like 15 minutes during the day. Like today, it's gray out, but I guarantee everyone in here has burned under clouds at the beach. Everybody 100%. Knows. Yeah, nobody's just like, oh, clouds. I don't think I'm just going to put any skin protection on. I'm just going to run around.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know why we think differently, but we do. We make up different rules.
It's cloudy. There's no.
Right. There is sun coming out. So those are kind of the key takeaways.
Yeah.
I think a huge thing is to control your phone, since we're so addicted to it.
Yeah.
And that's keeping your phone on night mode all of the time. Keeping the light down.
Yeah.
In it as much as you can, because again, one thing I didn't touch upon is brightness, and I missed this in our podcast. I'm so sorry. I should go backwards, but we're going to start here. Brightness is really messed up from a lux perspective, which is the measurement. Lumens is a total measurement. Lux is more or less away from the sun. It measures that.
Got it.
So indoors at tops, we maybe get 1,000 lux, and you can measure this. Outside, if I put my lux at the sun, it's like 10 to 40 to 50,000. So I'm getting I'm getting clearly nothing here but bad blue light. Outside, I'm getting all of the broad spectrum light, all of it. So it's just such a mismatch. It's such a circadian mismatch where in the morning, we do want pretty decent amounts of cortisol, and then we want it to go down during the day, because cortisol isn't terrible. Everyone's like, cortisol's terrible. It's the whole reason we are alive as humans. We have gotten away from predators because our cortisol spiked and we ran, and epinephrine going really great. Yep. However, we have this cycle right now as humans where we are constantly in stress. Most of it is from reactions to many things, where I'm constantly losing these little tiny battles of cortisol. And my cortisol now is overstressed. And now I have to go use other systems to squeak out some energy. So again, we come down to that ATP mitochondria story over and over again. So if I'm getting outside in light, I'm getting that broad spectrum. You can't compete with 50,000 to 1,000.
No, not at all.
And it's not the right type of light. So again, a big mismatch is most people's cortisol should be high and coming down, when at night, it's the complete opposite. Right. People are coming home, lights are up, everyone's eating their biggest meal at night, then they're watching TV in front of their screens. So my cortisol is actually going up.
Right.
My melatonin's not going down. My cortisol is going up. My melatonin start to suppress. And what's crazy, if you use the My Circadian app, if you measure around your house, melatonin starts to suppress after 10 lux. You'll start to realize how much suppression has been going on with your melatonin. We start to just measure real quick around your house. Like, holy shit, I'm at like 100 lux in my room, which means you've been suppressing melatonin since the sun's gone down. And people want to wonder,
I can't go to sleep.
Right. So they just start popping melatonin, which is not a great thing, because again, it's a thermoregulator. So it's a thermoregulator. So you would be better off taking GABA or glycine, something like that. If you want to like segue into supplements or anything like that. But that's really the key things, is getting that hydration early in the morning, preferably with some minerals. I'm a big fan of trace minerals, putting that in there, getting your 40 ounces in, getting 5 minutes of light. That's it. You could possibly do that all at once. Some people that are like hyper jammed and they're like, I want to biohack the shit out of that. Cool. 40 ounces, chug it in light. You're good. You've done the most you need to do today. Okay. You're
That's kind of how my mornings go.
Honestly, I have
my
some
mornings
people
are compressed a lot.
They don't have time.
I'm here by 6
right.
every morning. There's no sun at that point.
Yeah.
So I fill up. I have another one like this at home, and that's filled sitting on the bed waiting for me to wake up. that already has trace minerals in it. So when I wake up, I do a couple of little stretches. I sit there and have my water, and I walk right outside, put my feet on the ground for a little while. And then I can't usually get sunlight until I'm here for a little while. Like, but if I see the sun come up, I'm like,
You're out there. Yeah.
Hey, what's up? I'm going to go take a picture of the sun real quick. I go outside between classes, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I have to pack that stuff in because I don't get it early. There's not a lot of time for any light or anything like that. So it's just a slightly different version of it.
Yeah. But what you are doing is you are starting to you're starting to get some of the ions out of your system. So when you put your feet on the earth, what's really interesting about the earth is its pulse, its natural pulsing rhythm. Yes. So the Schumann resonance, that's when the how it's set in our bioenergetic field is when lightning hits, that creates our actual resonance, like our earth pulse beat in the solar system. So it's at about 7.8 megahertz, which is really interesting because that's the exact wavelengths as our theta and beta waves in our brain. So that's where like EMFs and that whole story, people are like, that's some crazy shit. And I'm like, is it really? If you really look at quantum physics and you put your feet in the earth, what you're doing is also offloading those positive charges. So everyone's like, good vibes, man, like positive vibes. Positive vibes are great, but they're also not great for inflammation. So the earth is negatively charged, so it can really help offshoot that. And you can ground in a lot of stuff. I mean, we have, again, our environment is just not built great for us. So we have like, polyurethane floors and everything through our feet. If you can just take your shoes off, man, just get in the earth somewhere, you can start offloading some of that stress that everyone's feeling. So that's what I'm saying. What you're doing is like, I did that exact thing, but I did it in the morning. So I would go outside with like 40 ounces, no shoes. I mean, I looked pretty weird. I have a lot of pictures of me just doing this. It's getting as much sun as I can on my system.
My neighbors give me a very wide berth.
Yes, exactly.
He's doing stuff again.
He's doing weird stuff.
So there's a word or a couple words that came up a few times. So I'm going to have you define them for people. So in your definition, systemic inflammation. What is it? Why should people be concerned about it?
I'd say systemic inflammation is all of the inflammation, which is not great.
And that term is like inflammation, everything's inflamed, blah, 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 blah. What is going on when there's inflammation in our body? Is it disrupting the signals? It's for our ATP and our energetic usage.
Man, there's so many ways to go into that conversation. At a nutshell, I see inflammation as a mitochondria being sticky and not being mobile. They can't really move. They can't create ATP. That's how I see it's cellular inflammation. Like something isn't getting in or out of the cell. So there either is that makes sense. A signaling problem or a receiving problem. And I haven't figured out which one yet. That's why the labs are really helpful. So like, are you sending this? That's with sex hormone binding, really important to test that because do we know is for testosterone, for example, like, do you have the receiver for that? Do you have the signal for that? Is it setting? So understanding those things are really important. Right. So that's why, again, like the story always comes down to like biochemistry. To be honest, it really does.
How about that?
I know, right? It does. But yeah, I don't know if I kind of circled around that
No, that was a great...
systemic inflammation.
Systemic inflammation and kind of what global. You thought about it.
I think
signaling
it's
for the
terrible word. So I'm sorry I used it
inflammation?
3 times. No, systemic inflammation in general is what we label all of the, like something is happening in you that is causing a systemic reaction throughout your whole body.
It's like an irritation.
Yeah, so when people talk about root cause, which is another huge buzzword right now, root cause should be some delineation of something going wrong in the mitochondria. So receiving problem, is it a signal problem? Are you not creating enough water in there? You're not creating enough heat, creating enough light? What system is possibly signaling that's not signaling correctly? Like, do you have glucose? So many things can be causing that. So that's why I really test C-reactive protein, the HSCRP so much, is to understand, wow, this just tells me what level you're at. And then if I see that and see high triglycerides, ApoB high, LDL, that systemic inflammation is coming from the heart. We've got lipid issues. We have major lipid issues going on. And that's like where I'm attacking. Okay. That's what I'm attacking from hydration, sleep. And yeah, that person probably their nutrition is going to bump up a little quicker because something in their dietary intake usually is contributing to that.
That was what I was going to
Or it's not being processed a specific way. So that's something where you could leverage saunas and other things and knowing when to put that in, how much to put that in to really manage the lipids. And then that's obviously going to tell me what supplementation is going to be most useful.
Right.
Like the single dose of one thing that's going to really attack that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I hope that answers the question a little
No,
better.
that was great.
What's the other one?
So with inflammation, right, is it just the things you said it might usually be the things you eat? With me, you said it would most likely
Your
was
environment.
what happened to you
Yeah.
and your brother and that time in your life, and you've been stuck there.
Yeah.
Parasympathetic overdrive since
Yeah.
that point, which isn't because I've been putting good foods in and all of these things, but I'm still stuck.
You're not
So
absorbing
it's not
them.
just what you put in. It could be what has happened to you and then what your body continues to do because of what happened to you.
Yes.
Okay.
Precisely.
Okay.
Is it, with the gut, for example, is it a absorption issue? Is it a,
Right.
can I absorb it? Can I utilize it? Can I transport it? Can I reabsorb it?
Or why am I not?
Right. And that's like the whole gut issue.
Right.
Right. So what's going on there?
Yeah.
And a lot of trauma is trapped here specifically because we have neurotransmitters. We've got the enteric nervous system, the vagal tone. A lot of stuff is so much happens in the oral cavity, swallowing it down, going through the digestive system itself. People's acids, a lot of like duodenum. I'll never be able to pronounce that one. Duodenum. You pronounce it better than me, and it's so funny. I write this stuff out in like my classes. I'm like, I will not pronounce this correctly. Please pronounce this for me. And stomach acids as well. So you'll see a lot of that starting to happen. I'm like, man, this person's like constantly like has a gut distension, or they've got hives, rashes, things that would look like skin issues are usually almost always some sort of gut issue. My one friend who actually worked with Jen, she actually inadvertently knows Pat and some other people. She's an excellent skin nutritionist. I mean, if anyone has a lot of hives or stuff like that, I'm like, you need to go work with her. Like she does that exact work.
Do the thing.
Work with her where they're doing creams and all this other stuff. I'm like, no, like I've read like her stuff's amazing with like her phase 1, phase 2. When we talk about liver detox, I personally hate that word because your liver's a great organ. It does a lot of great stuff, but we can sometimes interrupt that. So there's people like when I said I refer out, like that's someone who I refer to.
Gotcha.
So if they come in and they have a huge amalgamation of skin issues, that is not my playground. You're going to do much better with this person. Get your problem solved there.
Yeah.
Because I could just look at their labs and their symptomology and be like, yeah, this isn't what I do.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So like, yeah. And that's where like there is systemic inflammation there and it's coming from the liver. And then at that level, they need different care.
And to all of your points, you wouldn't know any of that if you didn't have the data and weren't able to ask the questions to start finding out, is it the food? Is it the environment? Is it what's happening to you?
Yeah. It keeps coming back to that.
And
data.
And there's people that have like chronic acne, like all throughout their life, and they can't get to the bottom of it. And they've tried all the things, and then they go work with a specific gut nutritionist, and they see profound changes. Because they could have something like they could have SIBO going on. They could have glucuronidase. They could have other things that are from a symptomology standpoint expressing as skin issues, but are completely gut issues. And that is something that's very common. Again, not my realm, but it's adjacent. And I have people like in each one of these areas where I'm like, that's exactly what this dude does or what she does. Right. Go work with her. She's going to do great with you.
Yeah.
So it's also, I mean, we know both as like coaches, like you have to understand what lane you're in.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And that like there are people that are the world's greatest in specific areas. So having a good network. Right?
We had somebody come in and ask, hey, can you help our kid like do sprinting better? I worked with Ed Ruiz back in the day.
Sure,
I know how to fucking sprint and do all these things, but I was like, I'm a strength coach. Let's find you somebody who does that. Like,
for sure.
and, like there can be an expert or somebody with a lot of experience, and it doesn't even have to be the leading expert. It can be somebody that you trust.
Yeah.
Right. And what I've learned is when we do less better inside of this, everybody gets better results.
Totally.
So when we're in our lane, when we're working on your squat and your strength training and the things, and then we're generally topically saying, hey, did you get better sleep? No? Okay, maybe we do need to talk to somebody about why you're not sleeping well.
Sure.
Or, hey, maybe go see Adrianne, get your blood panels pulled, and she can help you understand why there's things like that. Sure, I can give you wear the thing at night, make your room 62 degrees, make it darker, all of that. Will you do it consistently but we won't know because we won't have the data.
That's it.
All right. Now, I'm a person, and I think I told you this because you gave me an app and all of these things. And I was like, Adrianne, I know you probably get a lot of people that are very analytical and numbers driven, and I am not one of them.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not that I'm all feelings. I'm actually not all feelings.
No, that's me.
I believe I'm a good blend of feeling and logic, but I also get overloaded or desensitized when I have to look at too much number and then make a thought and a choice and a bait. Give me an avenue to start, and I can tell you based on what action you have me take. The data you want out of that, and you can look at the data and give me a better action. So I think I believe that could be a way where, I'm a big feeling person, and I think too, and I don't love crunching numbers, but I also have realized, guys, that if I don't know what's going on. Guess what I started doing this past year? I've put more money away and I have more financial stability because I started looking at my fucking money all the time. Now I look at the food that goes in my body even more on a macronutrient level. I look at the supplements. I look at the environment. I look at what everything is going in. But I also, if I don't understand it, I can leverage somebody who is better prepared in that place to help me make a better decision and take better actions for me.
Yeah, I mean, I've got like 3 coaches.
Yeah.
Seriously, I have like 3 coaches right now.
Yeah.
And each one of them is in a specific area where I need to improve.
There you go.
And I know what you're talking about when you're talking about finances. Jeremy, we were right before I think you left, he was talking about a client with like macros and stuff like that. And one of the things that you get into is when people assume sometimes it's not their diet, right? So let's just go on the very contrary, that they're like, well, I'm like eating what I need to eat. I'm like, okay, let's see.
Right.
And often they are.
They're pretty darn good.
And most people I see are eating.
Right.
Training, they are you.
You're right.
But there's a huge missing link in their labs of their core problem, which is draining them of all of their effort, which is like so hard to watch. Again, watching someone drive with the e-brake on.
There it is.
It is like, God damn, man, you're going 60 miles an hour. You're going to blow out a tire. You're going to blow out some other juice, oil. Something's going to happen there. That's with our systems. I feel like that's what we're doing.
The brake pads are going to wear down eventually, and you're going to hit a wall.
But when we do that intake, so when I'm trying to get better finances, I'm sure at the root you did an expense list and inventory. So what's coming in, which I say is input, and what's going out.
Output.
Most people as nutritionists in my field only look at input. They only look at what's going in. They never look at what's going out. So I'm like, how much is this person moving? We have these algorithms, it's like BMR, TDE. So for those that don't know, it's basal metabolic rate, total daily energy expenditure. These are kind of the base tools we use in nutrition. Like how much at a base level is this person burning?
Yeah.
Just as a human, getting up, moving around, which for most people is far less than I've ever seen in my 15 years of coaching at this level. I've never seen such inactive human. Then we look at TDE, total daily energy expenditure. These are all formulas that have been developed 100 years ago.
So not current.
I'm just going to be quiet and just let that speak for itself.
Mic drop there.
I like to really use something to track the person for like a day, you know, understand for at least 2 weeks, understanding input and output. Like how much calories are you actually burning? And then we take that to a next level, like what you'll be doing throughout the programs when we start looking at energy system development. You know, what fuel system are you predominantly burning from in your training? If we take this like another level, and then the fueling is usually always inappropriate. People are overloading on protein and carbs before and after their training session and doing jack shit twiddly dinks in between. When like, that's when I need glucose. So I'm going to be burning through some glycogen. That's when I need some EAAs because my, amino levels are going to be a little bit disrupted, but I need those more as actually carriers, right? So when we really get into these discussions, you realize that people are trying really hard, but they're just doing it in the wrong places, looking at the wrong things, but we need to get a better idea of input and output. What are you actually doing every day? And then I can set your calories correctly, right? And at the base level, set them correctly based on input and output. And then from there is really setting them in a different way that is going to be advantageous to goal or outcome.
Got it.
Of what those, for those that need to know what macros are, those are your macronutrients. Those are 3 predominant burning systems that your body uses for energy. And that's protein, carbohydrates, and fats. The percentage of those and what those should look like in my dietary intake. So that's the percentage of what those things. Most people are very protein forward at this point, which I'm a huge fan of.
Sure.
You know, people are very eating protein first, eating more of it more consistently, which is awesome.
Sure.
Right. And this is, again, I think more from athletic conversations. Sure. And it's just interesting that now what is so popular is what we were doing as athletes 20 years ago, right? Where it's just basically like protein. I see like what's the craziest and coolest thing ever is like a lot of people in their 60s, like menopause, and moms and grandmoms taking creatine. I'm like, this is what we need. This is what we need. We need protein shakes and creatine and lifting in our 60s. We need this. We need it now.
Fuck yeah.
We need it now. Women that are my age right now, please listen up. If you're 40, your job isn't to be skinny. Your job is to put on muscle. That is your job. That is like, this is what you need to do from a longevity standpoint, from a metabolic standpoint, from immune function, disease prevention, cardiovascular protection. Like if you are not lifting and eating protein consistency, you are going to have a very hard time transitioning into the next stage for my gender population, that is menopause. For you guys, that's looking at a different hormone optimization with testosterone. Right. We are losing our hormones. And there's stuff we can do right now, which is what you do here, which is a foundation of strength that will could benefit more than probably any other one thing, right? If I put my time in here, but again, the little things that I do around the edges really help that performance. So I have to do less. I feel better when I work out. Workouts should be fun. They shouldn't be, they're tough sometimes. They're really hard.
Tough.
They're tough. I think you are one of the best coaches I've ever had that rides that line really nice, where like John would be like, who'd say some stuff. I'm like, oh God, that's going to suck a lot. That's going to suck, but I know I'm going to be better. Right. And it's just to the point where I don't want to stimulate my nervous system either too much. We don't have to go too far into that, but in general, lifting for women and men is, in my opinion, with a smart program, getting good hypertrophy, that is what's going to prevent disease. That is what's going to increase your immunity. Those are the things. Your muscle is your longevity organ.
Louder for the people in the back.
Like your longevity organ. So it's your, like my hormones cracked at 35, I'll kind of like circumvent. I was 130 pounds.
Give me a picture of that. I'm going to go right here.
Good. So I pull it on my screen. I post it constantly.
I'm just going to go take it off your wall.
That's okay. And with my system was broken, as some would say, right? So I'm like, I have to start from scratch. Yeah. It was kind of exciting too, because I never really focused too much on hypertrophy. I was always in performance.
Right.
Everything was like a clean and jerk for like 3RM or something like that. So with rugby, it was very performance based. I lifted for sport. I didn't lift to lift. So like lifting to lift wasn't until very recently in my career where I was like, biceps? I was like, how
do they do?
What do they do? You know, I was just like,
how does one work those?
Yeah, I was like I was like a noob going into the hypertrophy and bodybuilding world at like 35.
Right.
But a lot of that was like, I need to put on muscle, and a lot of it. So everything I thought that I knew about training and eating was on a whole different level now, with an attenuation to like really putting on muscle, which I think as anyone is one of the hardest things to do it right and cleanly and naturally.
To add muscle
without an overage of adipose tissue as well. And for those that know, adipose tissue is fat. To have those in a correct proportion, where I still want to be able to gain lean mass, which I think is so important. Because we lose it as we get older.
Yes.
We're going to lose that. We're going to have sarcopenia happen and osteopenia. And like, I'm not going down like that.
No.
I'm not going down like that. I'm using Wolf's Law, and I'm going to stress my bones, and I'm going to put a little bit of fracture between them, get those calcium deposits tight. So I think that stuff at a core level, like I always come back to strength and conditioning as the anchor. So I'll keep saying that it's the anchor to things like good strength and conditioning. Again, my labs and all of that stuff is really important, but it's always geared as like, that's part of it.
Got it.
So everyone at some point in my program, I do get to lift. I'm not writing their programs for them. Most people come to me, or I'm constantly emailing strength coaches to get tidbits on the athlete, because usually they aren't exactly forward with me sometimes. They're not forward telling. So I'll go, oh, your strength coach said X, Y, and Z. So, and they're always cool. Like they're cooler now than they ever have been, because they understand data.
Yes.
So if we're both looking at their whoop strap and they're trashed and they're in the red, it's like, you have a recovery day. You're going to eat like 100 grams more carbs than we thought you were going to eat. You need to refuel.
Yeah.
So that's where like data can be super helpful. And most people aren't at that level, but they understand when they feel like garbage, but they don't have the formula to get them out of feeling like garbage.
There it is.
That's it. And that's like my job is like, which lever do you pull?
Right.
Because I have so much going on and I don't know what's the right thing. Most people are overstressed, overwhelmed, and overtired. They don't even know what's up, down, left, or right. So when we come into these conversations and we come in full tilt,
Right.
sometimes it's so much we have to kind of like pull it back. Like, okay, let's just do this.
Well, and to that point, because we're in this great place where we can tie a bow on this motherfucker, because we're going to have you come back. You are so loaded for bear that we have so much more to
Literally
talk
loaded
about.
for bear.
You gave 3 really good levers so far to pull. I'd like to, if there's 2 more, we like to do odd things here.
Sure.
So we're going to give 5.
Which ones did I pull? Protein?
No, you said sun.
Oh,
You
sun,
said
light.
hydration and then lifting,
Yeah.
right? So those are big, simple levers. But inside your program, because lifting, I know, is on the tail end of your program once you get
Sleep.
there. And so sleep. Next,
Sleep.
Okay.
I mean, that's actually kind of like
Crack it open a
strength,
minute.
Strength isn't in my program. that's like
Well, it's adjacent
to get there. Most people can't work out at this point.
That's
they
the
can't,
point.
And that's the thing I really want to drive home. People feel bad about it.
Right.
They know they should do it. You know, they're walking, which is amazing. Like that's great.
Start somewhere.
Especially like after a meal, that's one of the best things you can do to lower your blood glucose levels. You want to control insulin. You want to be in charge of your glucose health and not be on type 2 diabetes, which up this point, type 2 and glucose. Well, let me make sure I get my stuff here. Diabetes 2, so insulin resistance. My bad, let me get this right. Insulin resistance and type 2. So type 2 is type 2 diabetes, but then we have high insulin resistance underneath of that is close to 50% of Americans just walking around with that. So that is its core, but then these people also don't have any energy to lift. So lifting's a shitty experience. When I go to the gym, it's a shitty experience for me. I don't have any goddamn energy. And now I got to think of some energy. So I'm going to like look at my phone to maybe bypass some time because this is boring as shit. And I'm not seeing the benefit. This is the typical American.
Right. Okay.
They don't have the energy. So my goal is like, I hope at the end of 4 months, we will. We have energy. Then I can give you to someone like you guys that you do the work. Then now you can do the really powerhouse work and they have the foundations from me.
Bingo.
They know how to hydrate. They know how to eat. They know how to sleep.
So let's say lifting is 6.
So
sleep,
light,
water.
Light. And for sleep, I want to be some pointers on that is you're not moving for like 6 hours. It's the one I was telling you. It's the one area you can control the most. Whether you have fragmented sleep, whether you have a 1-year-old, we can increase sleep depth. I'm never trying to increase your sleep quantity, but your quality I am inside those 5 sleep cycles.
Got you.
Right. So each one is 90 minutes. So we're really trying to improve the length, duration, and how much total deep rest you're getting inside of those sleep cycles. To do that, you can use sleep tools. Some great, again, outside of shutting down your lights, getting that warm up ready. A couple key things you can do. I'm a huge fan of sleep tools like mouth tape or nose tape. Now, a lot of people will be like, mouth tape. Your mouth position can hang open if you're someone like me and have had your face punched in a couple times and you've got a deviated septum, which I have. Mouth tape and nose helps increase airflow, which is huge. That's how am I oxygenating my brain? How am I sleeping? It's oxygen to the brain, right? And I'm recycling that, refiltering. So most of our air quality is garbage. So filter, again, these are things you don't have to do. It just runs in the background. Tape. There's no skill you need to learn.
Right.
That's it. That can improve my airway as I sleep, which is like, let's do things that are easy as shit. And I noticed across the gamut, I just had someone text me today, I can get someone from an 85 sleep score to about a 92. So a 7% improvement across the board, just cleaning up airways. Mouth tape, nose. Now, if that's not it, they might have sleep apnea, it might be a mouth guard or something like that. So we're getting oxygen to the brain so they can sleep. 4 is protein. I mean, we can't have a conversation without protein.
Yeah.
I think I've posted so much about protein in my 20 years on Facebook or more, but in general, protein, eating 1 gram per pound of target body weight.
Okay.
Target body weight.
Target body weight.
So the RDA recommends 0.8 per kilogram, which most people don't even convert to begin with. Right. So what that is about 0.3 pound a conversion or something like that. I've done the math and I'm going to sound not intelligent at this point. However, the RDA recommends 0.8, which is the recommended dose for you to not be protein deficient.
Okay.
to not be protein deficient, to basically not have all of the things I listed before early, to not have a dysfunctional immune system, to not have skeletal mass acceleration where you actually lose your skeletal mass, you lose your lean tissue. Those are the numbers they give you to not have that happen. That's not for health. That's not for performance. And that's not for longevity. That's just to not die.
Baseline 0.
Yeah, just basically like to just basically not die. Like that's not the recommended dose we're doing. And for most people, like someone like me, I'm 165 pounds. That would be me eating like 100 grams of protein a day, which for me wouldn't do much.
Nope.
I would like atrophy unbelievably quick. I wouldn't have half the energy. I wouldn't have half the vitality that I have every single day. So eating 1 gram per pound of target weight. So if you're 200 pounds and let's say you want to put on 25 pounds of mass,
You got to eat
you got to
220
eat 225 grams of protein
every day.
every day. If you want to go the opposite direction, you eat 175 grams of protein.
Right.
So if I'm 200 pounds, I want to lose weight.
Go down, right?
And people are like, oh, I can't eat that much protein. Well, hold on. Let's see where you are. And this is where precision nutrition comes in. Let's say you're only eating 75 grams a day. Well, hell no, am I going to have you eat 150, like an extra 75 grams of protein tomorrow?
Just double it tomorrow.
That's going to take some time. It's going to take weeks and months. And we're going to look at each meal that you're eating. And I'm going to increase different things. We're going to use different strategies. And maybe that number isn't great for you. Maybe it's 150. Okay, maybe we do different strategies of like leucine and all the little tiny nutrition tricks. But at the end of the day, that core principle of eating 1 gram per pound of target body weight will do all the things you need. If you want to lose weight, if you want to gain weight, lean mass, if you want to shred up, bulk up, lean down, that's going to do all of those things with that simple recommendation. More energy, you're going to have more control. Protein's the king. We talk about thermic effect of food. It's the most thing to break down. It's paramount. And if you can get that down, that's going to be probably, if most of my clients, when they walk away, that's their biggest lever that they pull on.
Okay.
You know, if they go away to vacation, I'm like, just hit your protein water targets best you can.
Got it.
Because everything else is going to be a shit show. Okay, so I know if you can control your protein, that's going to control appetite. That's going to help give you energy. That's going to help you from overeating. That's going to help you sleep. That's going to help you recover if you decide to work out or do anything on vacation. So that would be it.
Okay.
And that fifth lever.
Yeah. What do we have? What are we finishing with, kid?
The fifth lever would probably be...
If there is one. Don't force it.
For people that train, I'm going to talk to you right
Please,
now.
talk to me.
Workout nutrition.
Yeah.
That's what you take before, during, and after your training sessions. From an athlete's perspective, I actually start there. And you know this is the first thing we worked on, right? Inside of hydration, the reason I always picked that first, because I was primarily dealing with athletes when I first started nutrition coaching. I did some work at the Gatorade Sports Science Center up in Sarasota. And that was really understanding hydration at a whole different level. So anytime part of my system, I've gone to the best and I've researched what they do and then applied it immediately. And then continued to interact with those researchers and ask them, hey, what's going on with this? What's going on with this? What's going on with this?
Follow-up questions.
You know, especially like if you look at like the ISSM, which is the International Sports Society, they've got one of the best research coming out for like protein and creatine for years. The position paper on the ISSN was released a long time ago, and they started talking about protein requirements. Same thing with creatine. I think in 2020 was Jose Antonio's paper. I might be misquoting this, but I paid attention to what he said like years ago. It was maybe between, I'm going to be burned for saying this, it might have been between 5 and 10 years ago. He just had a saturation limit with creatine. Universal, I stuck to that 20 grams across the board. When I started posting that, 7 to 10 years ago, people were like, that's too much. And now everybody's doing 20 to 25 grams of the saturation level. And in my opinion, it might be higher than that where we currently are. But I know from recent research, they just did a sleep deprivation study where they deprived sleep of non-obese adults, which is crazy. They actually did it on like a normal cohort. And with a 25-gram bolus of creatine, they were able to reverse all of the side effects of sleep deprivation. So that's a lever to pull. That's like, if I know I'm going to have a bad night, that's not saying like go binge drink like an asshole, be hungover and take creatine. That's not the message we're talking about here. That's like, these are some tools and some lever points. And also that really should be paramount in the cognition of what creatine does. It works on the phosphocreatine system, which is predominantly in the brain.
Right.
That's a brain axis one. We got to pay attention to that. That crosses the brain blood barrier, and it's very, very indicative to creating ATP that helps us create more energy. So if I'm in an energy deficient state, which most people are, that's where creatine can be very much leveraged. Like there's not really one client of mine that isn't on creatine at some point. And in heavy, heavy doses, 15 to 20 to 25 grams.
Or more, yeah.
And we look at the labs and people are like, well, is it going to change my creatinine number? Well, if we look at your ALT, AST, liver, and see where you are, also that's a bunch of shit. And that's been, excuse me.
No, you're good. You're good. I love it.
That's been proven from scientific evidence that it's not going to cause renal failure. Even there's been studies with kidney disease helping it slightly improve certain aspects of that. So you really have to look at that. Like, again, using labs helps you determine, or not help you determine, it helps give really great insight in what you should be doing with the person at the right time. So like, those are kind of my key levers to pull on, I would say.
Okay.
If I had to.
Comes back to the data points.
She just spitting some fucking bars right
or
there.
Or the workout nutrition piece. I might have gone above it, but people just constantly preload protein and carbs in not the greatest amounts, and they usually eat fat and fiber too around those meals, which then I can't get good gastric emptying. The osmolarity is not going to be great. I'm not going to get the substrates that I need to produce energy at a fast rate because you have a higher buffering zone. That's a catabolic environment. It's going to eat shit. I want to keep it an anabolic environment. I want to keep my muscles pumping. I want to keep squeezing. I don't want to lose glucose. You know what I'm saying? I need to keep my glycogen stores feeding me energy. So you need a ton of sugar. Almost every female that I work with, I'm like, what do you take during workout? Water. What? Like water. Like that's not enough. When you're lifting, you need carbs and you need EAAs, amino acids. Again, even some people I've kind of like turned a left on BCAAs. I don't really care about them very much at all. EAAs, some aminos, even like isoprotein, something pure like that with some carbs and some fruit before you work out, during you work out, and then eating a really good meal without fat and fiber. So if everyone can hear that, no fat and fiber an hour before and after your workouts, that is for later. That takes a lot of tax on the digestive system. So again, with athletes, I start there. We start that pre and post workout nutrition. So for them, we start a little early. So I'm like, okay, if you are eating these meals, we need to correct this fueling strategy. So yeah, food comes in the conversation with them a lot earlier.
Okay.
But for everyone who's training, because at some point I do want them training. So I want them to know that, hey, this is what we need to eat before, during, and after training sessions, because it's such a huge metabolic lever to pull.
Right.
And you could I don't even work out. I'll be quite honest. If I don't have the right substrates in me, I won't train that day. I'll just rest. I'll take an extra rest day if it's rushed or whatever, because I just don't see the point in it. I see how much the difference is between a fueled system. When I mean fueled, I'm talking like sleep, making sure I've got my water good. If I'm feeling a certain way, I'm just not doing it.
Okay.
Or I forget my workout nutrition, I'm just I'll just walk. Because honestly, I see the difference. Like when I started to really load my system with the right amount of nutrients, my body changed incredibly. I'm talking I couldn't put on muscle at all.
Now you can.
Now I can.
Later
I've put on
too.
25 pounds of muscle in the past. It's taken me 10, almost 8 years.
Would you say that you're bulky now?
I'd say I'm a consistent bulk now, a forever bulk. I don't like when people you look small. I get really offended by that. I'm working as hard as I can to fill out my sleeves every single day. Just kidding, but not. But seriously, I'm very much concerned about my mass. To me, and when I say mass, I'm talking about my lean mass, my skeletal mass.
muscle.
That is so important. I mean, we know as our parents are all aging, how important that is.
1,000%.
And that's our longevity organ.
Totally.
So you can see the people who train. I mean, I'm at the gym pretty much every day, and I see the people who train, and I see their ages, and I ask them, and I'm always kind of blown away. I'm always like, dude, you're 75? Guy looks like he's 55. And you see these people that don't train and don't work out. And I'm not saying you need a formalized program. I'm saying if you're just active in life.
Do something.
do something active, do something that's breaking a sweat or some sort of strain that is hopefully towards some sort of goal or keeping you in whatever health body you want to be in.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are like my big levers. I'd say it's light. I mean, from Jack Cruz, like light water magnetism, but light water, sleep, protein, and I think was it
Workout nutrition.
workout nutrition. You know, for most people, that's not going to be important, but part of workout nutrition is a heavy
But
dose of creatine.
that's number 5. That's number 5 on that list. Because
It's
if you
all
don't,
the way down the list.
if you don't do the first ones, we don't, like you just said, you don't have the materials to work out
right.
with.
But athletes coming in have high materials already. It's just it's disorganized. They usually have their athletes are the funniest to work with because I'm sorry, I just have to. They're doing so much.
Right.
Athletes is always pulling them. It's pulling,
1000%.
it's taking, you know this.
Do 1 or 2 less. Do
Yeah,
less.
you have to pull back. Like, dude, maybe not squatting 500 today. Like, maybe we can do something else and less stimulus and probably still get you. Like, you were explaining that to me in your program. You're like,
1000%.
I'm doing a different volume and I'm still getting these great results.
Yeah.
Where it's also being open to being wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of the time. And I'm just constantly in that space of like, is this the best thing I should be doing for my client? And I also think if you're not questioning that every day, then you're a really crummy coach. Or your heart's not in the right place.
That might be the dropper right there.
You know, if you're not asking those questions about yourself, like, are you being a great coach? And to me, that's
Gotta set your ego aside for that one.
yeah. Are they getting what they want? Are they getting what they signed up for?
Yeah.
You know, and we have our own egos or whatever we think that we are. But to me, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who I am. It's what they get, how they feel. You know, what was their experience throughout the entire, they should feel empowered. They should feel strong. And they should feel like they have the knowledge about their body to go head out in the world and not being in this little laboratory and these tiny little things that we're telling people and this bullshit and actually giving an armor, because out there is a battlefield and it's a stress battlefield. And if we don't actually start treating it like that, we're going to be doing more damage. I mean, just understanding that the current human is different. Like, we are not the same that we were 5 years ago. This is such an important thing. We all went through COVID together. Whether you believe in it or not, it doesn't matter. We were all indoors, pretty much. We all had a ton of shit happen to us. And our physiology, I believe, changed as humans. We were not around in the sun. We had a lot of weird things happen. The whole energy of the earth kind of shifted a little bit. So I think we have, at a physiological level, changed quite a bit. And then you have all of the current events of all the things with AI happening and just the world order. That's a whole different type of human than you see it. You see it because you see
1000%.
these people come in.
Yes.
The labs I'm looking at of a 45-year-old person are usually labs I see in someone that is 65 years old. The age rate, I'm like, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
We're like, I don't want to be in this field sometimes. I know I'm always going to have a job, but it like hurts because I'm seeing how I'm seeing how dysfunctional they are at a cellular level.
Yeah.
And I know the environments that they live on. And I'm like, I hope that they really make some environmental changes because that truly is the difference. It really is. I mean, I'll state that as a fact where the past couple years, I've been going down to Puerto Rico for a month with no electricity. And I'd say the only energy it's solar run. So I get about 4 hours of solar energy where I can just do like my basic work and stuff. That's about it. It's the only time I'm around a computer. And I'm in full sun every day. Full sun.
Barefoot, probably,
Barefoot.
most of the time.
The food that we're eating usually is grown on the land itself.
Interesting.
When the lights go down, there is no other lights.
Right.
You have your red lights, candle lights, that's about it. And I'm telling you, my HRV, my sleep scores, my labs, I have the best sleep. I don't have any of the worries I have when I'm here. Obviously, it's not vacation. I want to just understand. If everyone understands, I work my ass
You're
off.
working.
If you actually look at the pictures from Facebook, like me and my best friend from college, like we cut out stairs out of a mountain for a month, like hard labor.
Yeah.
It's not just like we're hanging out, but I would say that my body responds differently out there. Like I don't need half the food I need here. When I talk about now, I'm going to change the conversation. I'll spin people's heads a little bit. I don't think I eat my protein RDAs down there at all. And I have unlimited amounts of energy. So I have to think, well, what lever am I pulling on there? The sun. I'm out in sun all day. I'm in a great mood. and I have so much energy, and I'm not eating the greatest food there. It's from there, but a lot of this stuff is imported. In Puerto Rico, there's not a lot of like food that's grown there.
Right.
Yeah.
So our access to some of that stuff, I'm not eating a lot. Like I eat a lot here. I don't train there, but I am
Working all the
I am
time.
working like harder. Any of the workouts I've ever done don't even compare. And I've trained at an Olympic level, and it's not even close to that type of labor. Every hill is like this. You're carrying I mean, it is labor that is probably what we should be doing.
Right.
So
Chop
we don't
wood,
need
carry water.
We
right?
don't need workouts, and like everything that I'm talking about is unnecessary in that environment. But I also understand not every single human can do that.
Right.
From an affordability standpoint, any standpoint really at all. I mean, I just worked my ass off for 20 years to be able to go do that.
Right.
But I see the vast difference of being barefoot, being chill, having positive environment, not being like completely, what's the word? I'm trying to think of
Engaged.
with just all the social media and all the news. It's just, I don't even like pay attention to any of it. I'm very much in the earth.
Yeah.
And that daily grounding and that daily sun, I just don't need that
Kind
amount
of
of energy.
disassociate,
And I don't lose any muscle mass because
about
again,
that?
at the beginning of the conversation, we talked about light being a fuel source.
Right.
You just don't. I'd probably say eat 50% of the amount of food. I don't lose any weight. My body just uses it while I'm there. You know, so it's really interesting to see these things in real time. Where I always try to be my worst critic and go against everything that I've been taught and be like, well, what if you do this? And let's see what happens if I do that.
Defiantly, right?
Yeah, I'm always doing things defiantly. I'm like, well, is that true?
Right.
And
Testing.
Testing. It's constantly, so not guessing, but testing.
I know.
Don't
I
guess,
took
we
off
test.
5 weeks this year.
Probably the best HRV scores.
And I drove around. I visited a bunch of friends. I went to a bunch of national parks, and I spent most of that time outside. I slept outside.
Same, yeah.
But then in the middle of that, I even went further out and hiked out onto a beach and slept and lived there for like 6 days.
Yeah.
I never had shoes on once. I slept the best that I've slept in a very long time, and I felt great coming back. I ate like so much less, and I went into that with a much more, like I was training much more heavy before I went there. I was eating like eating all the time, doing all that, and I was like, I'm not going to do any of that. I'll just take enough. And most of the time I wasn't hungry.
Yeah.
Most of the time it was just like, ooh, look at that. The sun's out. Oh yeah, I'm in my bare feet. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah. And I felt great. Like, and now I'm like, oh, I pretty much gonna have to do that like a couple times a year all the time, because I haven't felt as good as an adult as I did then in a very long time. So, I mean, there was a lot of other stuff going on too, like emotional release and that kind of stuff. But yeah, like that same exact thing, like very much in that place of like,
Well, and sleeping.
I feel really good, and I'm
Yeah.
sleeping, and
Sleeping
that's one
and
of,
sleeping
that's one of
outside.
that's one of my things too. Like when I'm in the house, I don't sleep as well as I want to all the time. But as soon as I get outside, I'm like, oh, sleep like easily. Sleep, even if I'm just I have a tent on my truck. Like if I'm sleeping there, like I sleep better. Like I know instantly I sleep better. So,
No, it's true. And that's,
anecdotal evidence there.
anecdotal's the best. Like if people don't want to, believe any of it, that's fine, because I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I actually am more of a disbelief. Like, nah, that's not true. Until I have to go figure it out for myself.
Right.
But yeah, I was sleeping outside too.
Right.
And it was interesting. My best friend was saying the same thing. She's like, when was the last time you slept outside for like weeks on end? Of like,
Right.
I don't remember.
Right. Weeks on end, like
Weeks on end.
Summer camp, maybe.
Never.
Weeks on end. So that's
Yeah.
and again, I understand a lot of people can't do that.
Right.
But what they can do is get outside a little bit. What they can do
As
is
much as
drink more
possible,
water,
yeah.
preferably
Touch
have
the
it
earth.
somewhat filtered. Take more precautions around sleep in their environment, like turning down the lights. And it's funny because your eyes will be very deconditioned. You're going to be like, I remember when I first started doing this, I couldn't see in a room because I was so used to just turning the lights on.
Right.
And it takes a while for you to become accustomed to this, but you see perfectly fine.
You do.
Perfect. I see perfectly fine in the dark. I have no issues whatsoever. But it took me like a month
to readjust.
And when I first came out, my vitamin D was so low. When I couldn't open my eyes. My early pictures are like me like this, like looking very low towards the ground because I couldn't open my eyes in sunlight. That's pretty alarming.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I was always in sunglasses, always in sunglasses, always had sunscreen on. I was always covered. And then when I stopped doing that, I stopped burning,
How about that?
which is wild. I stopped, I can be out in light forever. I only use sunglasses for like aesthetics at this point, and I don't even like keeping them on that long. I'm just like, I know this isn't great for me. Or when I snowboard, I have like like that. You got to wear polarized, man. Don't just burn your damn retinas out.
Fuck yeah.
You're just like snow, in your face. So a lot of those things, I feel like we don't need science for, is to trust your own intuition. And even like if someone's freaking out, you don't go, let's sit in a cold, dark room and work this trauma out. It's like, let's go for a walk in the sun and talk. Like what person have you ever like, listen, or if someone's hyperventilating, you tell them to take a deep breath and to calm that system down. So we do this every day as reminders, as humans, but we don't do it in a health practice, which like blows my mind on it every day. I'm like, it is intrinsically, we know it. And for some reason we need these hard research to be like, the sun's great for you, or to drink more water, to eat more protein, when people know at a level that they've done these things before and it works. You feel better in the sun. You feel better when you drink a decent amount of water. They don't cost anything. That's also the crazy thing. It's free. Taking your shoes off is free. I don't want to pay $8,000 for a sauna. I'd rather go outside. I don't want to pay for a cold immersion thing. I could just do a cold shower for 2 minutes and get the same exact benefits.
Sounds good.
So these are the things I think we've overcomplicated and need all of these expensive things when that's just marketers hitting your vulnerability of distrust in yourself as a human to complete health tasks.
Right.
Well, they're
Maybe
like,
I
we're
need
just going to
this.
say that you suck and you can't do anything. Are you frustrated? He says, are you frustrated or overwhelmed? Yeah, I am.
Give me your shit. It'll work.
Maybe
There
I
you
do
go.
need that thing. It's going to
Yeah.
help me. Is it going to fix me?
But then you don't know how. You get in there like, how long should I be doing this? And you start reading stuff like, should you even be doing that? That's the thing I keep asking. Like, is it helping you? And you'll have people that'll go all in on one thing, right? We're like, I've started mouth taping probably like 5 or 6 years ago. And it's because I've got a deviated septum. It's because it was something I know I snore. I have a sleep apnea test. And in about 2 months, I'm probably going to be having a machine because I do have sleep apnea for sure. I'm on my way there, but I'm trying a mouth guard as my last little like, ditch effort to not be hooked up to a machine at night. So when you start really looking at what is doing what, is it appropriate or not for you? And that's really just going to come with some testing. And people want to avoid the testing. And it's like, this is, first of all, it's cheap. Blood tests aren't expensive. You can get blood tests through me, pretty comprehensive ones for $200.
Right.
If you just need one or two things, I mean, I've got heart healthy tests for $75. Just
now.
AOPA, AOPB,
Right.
just understanding which one. And for those that need clarity on that, AOPB is the one that you don't want to have. That's high LDLs. Those are those particles that are going to go in and really, they could cause atherogenic. So that's where they could become atherogenic, where that means they could clog an artery, do a widowmaker. That's what that does. APOA is the good one. You want to have that. That's like HDLs, which is the good ones.
Fuck yeah.
But this is where these things become like questions like, well, why are we sauning? Like, what's going on? Like, why do you need that? And it might be great for a specific amount of things, and it might not be great for other things. So I think, we can kind of bucket the conversation. It really comes down to getting, in my field and what I do, your labs are your data. Symptoms are the clues. Symptomology is the clues, and we really have to pay attention to those clues and not write people off. And like you ask questions. Oh, I'm tired. What does tired mean? What happens during fatigue? Explain that to me.
Right.
How do you feel during fatigue? Well, this, and you just keep asking till you get that answer. And then if that doesn't happen, you test another lab and you ask, you get that answer.
Right.
So it's putting that all together. And for a lot of people, that'd be like, that seems like so much. That's why you hire someone to do that for you, because it's a laundry list to figure out, in my opinion. And I don't think there's many people that spend as much time in research or clinical trials or clinicians that are doing that type of work to get to the root cause of their clients' proposed issues. But that's what we got to do. It's like if someone came in for you for 30 days and worked out with you and then was like, am I better?
Right.
But a lot of people do that. And it's like, well, yeah, from your baseline, but we just started.
Right.
We just started to unpeel these things. We just started to uncover a couple things.
Yeah.
So,
You're just starting to move.
yeah.
That's
One
all.
step.
Like, you're
Yeah.
moving now.
Let's take
Congratulations.
two, you know,
Let's
like-
keep going.
We are at a great place to bring this to a head. Any final questions for Adrianne? Anything you'd like to know? I think she just rattled off.
Yeah, sorry. I just,
She lets it go.
Sorry.
Okay,
No,
yeah.
You don't have to be
bars.
sorry.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
you did exactly what
Everything.
we want to have happen
Cool.
here.
Great.
Is that, yes, we're sitting here, and yes, we want to talk a little bit, but the focus is, that's why you're in the middle. The
What
focus
do you
is
have
on
to say?
We want to hear what you have to say. Your story, the way that you tell it, like, that's where we're here for. And you said a lot.
yeah. I hope a lot of it landed for some people.
I think it did. And so I'm going to ask you one question to tie it together personally for you. Why do you do what you do, and who do you do it for?
Why do I do what I do?
You told me on the phone the other day.
Well, it changes constantly, right? So what I do every day is a deep-rooted sense of obligation. I feel like for everyone, like I believe I was given a gift that came out much later in life, you know? So I've always wanted to help people. I didn't know how, but I knew I had a special way of looking at things, and it was different than a lot of other people. And at the time, I didn't understand that or why, where now I feel like it's my gift. And if I don't continue to work on that, then I feel like it's a disservice to myself, and it's a disservice to every single person I know that I could be helping. I forget, what was the second question?
Who do you do it for?
I mean, I do everything not for me.
Correct. And here's what she told me on the phone without getting too specific. The people closest to her, we said her dad had a heart attack.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
some other things going on in her family. She wants to be able to do that for her family first.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I'm sorry. I didn't know where
Does
we
that
were
make
going with
sense?
that. Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of stuff I'm doing right now is really targeted to help my brother. So my brother's 46. He was diagnosed with frontal temporal dementia, which I haven't been like very open with in Facebook or any of the things because my family's still understanding how that all works.
And I wanted to give you the opportunity to say it or not.
No, that's okay. That's okay. And a lot of what I'm doing right now in my studies, and I believe what's accelerated a lot of my studies, and it just so happened, everything kind of fell into place how it's supposed to. You know, and a lot of times we wonder, I was really hard on myself for leaving my PhD program, and I didn't realize all the things that were about to happen and how they happened. It was serendipitous, or it was someone else's hand. I'm not too sure if it was even my own or destiny or whatever, but I started to become very obsessed with biochemistry, and I didn't take any chemistry, you know? And I understood that if I'm going to be able to help anyone, especially my brother, to understand his disease and how functionality works, especially with brain and cognition, like I needed to go back to school in a different way. So the clinical program really helped in that way of me getting a deeper education in biochem and really at a clinical level. So, you know, a lot of people, what we do is deeply driven in the things that we cannot do. And I don't know if it's in my capacity to save my brother. I don't know if that's my job here on earth. And if I can, that's going to be someone else's instrument, but I will try as hard as I can. You know, so that's what makes learning very different. So some people are learning things to learn them and apply them for shits and giggles. Mine's for a life. And I think that changes how you learn. Everything I learn every single day, every sentence I read, every chemical equation is really bucketed down to, can I help my brother? Will this help him? You know, so when you look at, and brain and cognition is such something that's happening right now at the onset of Alzheimer's in younger and younger people. And like I said, my brother's 46, and that scares the shit out of me for him and his family,
Right.
but for us as genetic outline. Like, do we have this as a gene from an Alzheimer's perspective?
Right.
And looking deeply in those things. So it's before this though, you know, I've been doing this since I was 18, since that first transformation in high school. It was always an inner drive to change for growth. And I just found it to be easier going external than internal. But I found what a beautiful process has been in my own process, going from internal to external with like therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, all of the things. I've been in therapy for like 8 years now, and it's been probably one of the even bigger drivers that we probably didn't talk about much. However, everything I do now is through a lens like that.
Yes.
And I try not to get too attached to it because it can, in my opinion, drive you crazy.
Gotcha.
Where if you go down too many rabbit holes and too many things, but biochemistry is biochemistry. It's how the body works.
Yep.
So understanding all of those functionalities not only helps me understand brain systems, but then driving that, like, you know, if you can't help the people around you, like, what are you doing? You know, where you see all these people and these influencers, and that's all great. You know, like you might be helping people, but then these people can't help the people in their own sphere. And I can't tell you how many family members I've worked with, how many friends I've worked with, how many people, cousins, aunts, uncles, like just everybody, their brothers, their sisters. I mean, that's why, like we were talking, like, I don't know if I can direct people to a website or anything because I don't really have anything up yet because I have such a deep waiting list of people that are just waiting to get on that list to help people. And I think a lot of that just comes from a deep rooted, like everything I'm learning and applying has a direct impact on what I do and who I'm helping. That's a different level.
Awesome.
That's okay.
That's a different level.
The final thing I would have asked you is, do you have a place where you want them to go? What I'm going to say is I'm going to go ahead as your friend and be like, feel free to leave me a comment. And if I think you're a right fit for Adrianne, I'll get you in contact with her.
Yeah.
Until she gets her stuff. Okay?
Yeah. So I'm working with an amazing agency, and I'll drop them here, the People's First Agency. So they are redoing all of my business stuff.
Boom.
Where it's the first time, like, I can just be a practitioner. And they're taking care of the back end and stuff. So that will be up, like my website, all that stuff will be done in like probably 2 months.
Okay.
So until then, I've almost had to wait for people. A lot of people have messaged me. You can email me, Adrianne at NuHumanLabs.com, ADRIANNE at NuHumanLabs.com. I hope I don't have to spell that out, but NuHuman Labs.com. Boom. That's it, because so many people will send me their labs, and that's also very sensitive information that needs to go on a specific server and stuff. So I'm always a little like weary when people do that.
Totally.
Here's all my stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, how's it going? You don't know me, but here's all my stuff.
I mean, that is like my Facebook Messenger pretty much every day.
Right. Yeah.
So that's like people will message me their whole life story, mostly because they haven't been heard before. Or they're like, I've been told by 3 doctors I'm fine.
Right.
And they're like, but I have A, B, C, D, and they'll like send their labs through Facebook. I'm like, God, don't do that. Like, please don't do that. That's like non-HIPAA compliant out the wazoo. But I get a lot of those. So
Adrianne, thank you so much for spending time with us here today.
We got bump.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Sorry, my hands are cold.
Sorry.
Everybody,
Chilly.
you heard her email address. If you'd like to look her up, let's do that.
Cool.
Get your labs checked. Let's start with the data. Peace. We love you.
Awesome.
Are you having a hard time fitting in? Same here. I am not okay. For the longest time, I was faking fine. I had to learn how to speak the unspoken and find my truth. If you are ready to find your truth, please comment below FINE, FINE, in all caps, and I'll send you the first step. Welcome to our community, where it's okay to not be okay. See you on the inside.